Danful offers unparalleled, curated, and bespoke tours across Africa for travelers seeking genuine cultural experiences, enriched with magnificent sights, sounds, and flavors found on the continent. Each trip is reliably curated to ensure visitors are gifted with an immersive and authentic adventure. Whether you find yourself strolling along the charming white sand beaches of Sierra Leone, feasting on the mouth-watering delicious foods in Senegal, observing or partaking in various aspects of the Isheshe traditional system Ifa native to Yoruba land, Nigeria, with Danful, you will rediscover a fulfilling sense of kinship to the true heart of the motherland, her communities. Our core values focus on integrity, quality, safety, and sustainability. We are uniquely committed to assisting with the advancement of African infrastructure and promoting African businesses, so both travelers and the communities they visit receive beneficial exchanges. At Danful, we understand the importance of connectivity, and we have created a model which provides bespoke experiences based on your passions or hobbies. With us, expect a long-lasting spiritual bond between you and your destinations. Live, love, Danful, Africa. To learn more, visit danful.africa.
Peace, family. We are live again. Donnie Samir, search for Huru. Thank you all. Thanks for joining. Hit that like button again. Please hit that like button. Also, make sure you share and make sure you subscribe. I will greatly appreciate it. Happy Sunday, y'all. It's a beautiful day here in Atlanta. It's supposed to get I'm supposed to get some cold weather on Wednesday, but you know, it's been nice these last couple of days. So yeah, you know, go outside, go for a walk. Get some fresh air, you know, inhale, exhale, all that good stuff. So yeah, man, all is well here in Atlanta. Yeah, I got to get a haircut. So I had a haircut appointment on Thursday, and I completely forgot, which is my fault. So I got to wait to next week, you know, this week, upcoming week to get a haircut. And what sucks is that you pay ahead of time. And I missed the appointment. And, you know, listen, my barber was like, listen, Dinus, I can't squeeze you in. I'll lose money. And I said, you know what? I completely understand. It's my fault. I took accountability. I'm going to count the money that I paid you as that's just a big ass tip. It's all me. So there we go. It is what it is. But everyone hit the like button again. Please hit the like button. Make sure you share and make sure you subscribe. Got a couple of announcements. We are rolling. Oh, but the only thing about this good weather here in Atlanta is pollen season. Again, the only thing about this good weather, the only issue with this good weather here in Atlanta is it's now pollen season. So, you know, if you guys aren't familiar with pollen season, like literally you'll go outside and your car is green. And then if you got allergies, you know, that's going to mess up your allergies times 1,000. So that's the only thing that sucks about Atlanta during the when spring comes. But so it's March, we got about a month of pollen season. Then we're good to go. But listen, I'm gonna count it all joy. I'm not gonna complain. Let me check the weather. So I'm your weatherman too now. Let me check the weather. Yeah, so on Tuesday, the high is supposed to be 49. But you know what? I'll take it. I'll take it. It ain't too bad. You know, high is 49, low is 31. You know, I'll take it. They ain't too bad. We'll roll with it. You know, we'll roll with it. But hit the like button again. Please hit the like button. Also, make sure you share and make sure you subscribe. If you're new, even if you peep in, watch a second of this, just subscribe. And don't be stingy, y'all. Go ahead and super chat too. You know, hit that super chat button. Got a couple of announcements. Announcement number one, we are rolling to Senegal in May. And you know what? This is going to be a great opportunity for Africa. What's going on in the Middle East as far as tourism? Again, what's going on in the Middle East right now is going to be a great opportunity for Africa to absorb them tourism dollars. Again, to absorb them tourism dollars. Great opportunity for Africa. So, I might need to close my window. Can you guys hear like the background noise? I have my window open because I want to get some fresh air in here. When the weather's nice, I like to get fresh air. Okay, stop now. Okay. So Africa, the tourism ministries, they need to take advantage of this. Well, let's see here. Guys, go visit danfo.africa. That's DANFO.Africa. That's DANFO.Africa to learn more. We're going to Senegal in May, Nigeria in August, Zanzibar in September. And then we're doing Ghana and Ivory Coast and Sierra Leone in November. So if you're interested in joining, please visit danfo.Africa. And then also, too, we are doing Benin in January. Again, we're doing Benin in January for the Voodoo Festival. So I need to go ahead and put that out as well. So please visit Danfo, that's DANFO .Africa to learn more. Thank you. Who in the right mind was going? I mean, you know what? I was having this conversation with somebody online today. Black folks love Dubai. Between Dubai and Tulum, Mexico, Black folks love Dubai as well. I mean, they love Dubai and they love Tulum. But we were just asking, what's in Dubai? Everything is man-made in Dubai. All the man-made fake shit is the attraction for Dubai. Are you guys attracted to just a bunch of man-made fake shit? Excuse my language. And then there was Tulum. And I'm just like, what's the hype with Tulum? So Team Dubai and Team Tulum, where y'all gonna go now? I think they're going to, Thailand. Nah, bro, Dubai right now ain't safe. Dubai ain't safe. That whole area ain't safe. In fact, I got a friend actually came on one of my tours. He was stationed in Doha. They evacuated him. He's back here. He's in the States now. He's back in the States. Yeah, because he texts me from a local number, a 404 number. I'm like, you're not texting me from your Doha number. You're texting me from your 404 number. He's like, yeah, man, we got evacuated. We back in the States. Yeah, we're back in the States. So yeah, it's interesting. So yeah, so yeah, y'all go ahead and visit danfo.Africa, learn about, see where all we are going, learn where we're going, see where we're going this year. We're almost in April. My birthday's coming up. I'll be 44 years old, April 15th. I will be 44 years old in April. Time goes by fast, y'all. Time flies. Man, already. Well, good. Even before the jump off with Iran, them cats in Dubai will lock up foreigners faster than you can blink you for minor issues. Okay, well, stay your ass out of trouble. Stay your ass out of trouble. But what's interesting about Dubai, all these crypto scammers, they all go to Dubai for some reason. All these crypto scammers, they all in Dubai. Yeah, all the crypto scammers are in Dubai, which is interesting. which is very interesting. All the scammers go to Dubai. You know, Hush Puppy got arrested in Dubai. It's just a lot of scammers go to Dubai for some reason. So, yeah. So yeah, man, let's jump to today's topic. In white genocide, y'all. White genocide. So the South Africans, the Afrikaners who seek asylum here in America, a lot of them are you know, they trying to get back. They trying to get back to South Africa. I think it's hilarious. They were like, nah, they was like, it's you know, it ain't all what it used to be. It ain't all what we thought it was gonna be here in America. So like, nah, we going back to South Africa. And the thing is, man, when you go to, like, the first time I went to Africa was 2011. And when I went to Senegal, I mean Tanzania, I was like, who in their right mind would want to leave Tanzania and go to America? I was like, who in their right mind? This beautiful country, Tanzania. I was in Arusha, I was in Serengeti, I was in Zanzibar, I went to Dar es Salaam. But why would I want to leave Zanzibar or Tanzania? And even if I get bored of Tanzania, I can always go next door to Kenya. I can catch a 2.5-hour flight to South Africa or Namibia. I could catch a 2-hour flight to Addis, to Ethiopia, if I want to go there. Who in their right? Shout out to Marie, everyone. Shout out to Marie. Marie, let me tell you, every time I see, well, at least I try to, but let's acknowledge Marie, everyone. Marie has been down with me for show. I know since 2019. Marie came on the first ever tour that I had to Africa. It was for the Oshun Festival back in August of 2019. Marie rode with me. So we got a Marie has been 10 toes down. Now, she has threatened not to come back sometimes. Sometimes, you know, Marie in the chat, she has threatened to quit and not come back, but she's back, y'all. So let's acknowledge Marie, everyone. Let's acknowledge Marie. She's back to put up with y'all and us men who's always on here arguing and yelling and screaming at each other like women. I admit, Marie, we be acting like women sometimes. I'm gonna say another word, but I'm trying to keep it PG for now. But I know sometimes we be out here yelling and screaming at each other, and we be acting like women. But you know, Marie, she tolerates it. Now she didn't threaten. She's threatened to put in her two. I don't think she gave us 2 weeks. I think she said, you know what, I quit. I'm done with y'all. I ain't coming back. But she came back, y'all. So shout out to Marie. Shout out to Marie. We see you, Marie. We see you. Yeah, but the South Africans or the Afrikaners, you know, now they're saying they want to go back home because it ain't what they thought it was gonna be. So yeah, so fair news. This is from the Humanist Report, and let's check this out. Here's the story.
TurboTax locations are now open in your neighborhood. So hand off your taxes to an expert today. Now local experts do your taxes with one.
Hold on, let me also acknowledge Uncle Kala Thanos in the chat. I've known Kala since what, 2017, Kala? 2017? Kala has been down since 2017, 2016 or 2017, something like that. Kala has been down. So shout out to Kala Thanos as well in the chat room. 2018. There we go. So shout out to Kala Thanos in the chat room as well. Uncle Kala, he's been around. Our drunk uncle. Sometimes he get carried away. But when it comes to Liberia, Kala is the man. All right, let's jump into this segment.
100% accuracy.
Ready to join the booming cruise industry? Become an Expedia Cruises franchisee. You'll be part of the...
About 3,500 South Africans have entered the United States as refugees since the program started in May 2025. Many white South Africans and Afrikaners have welcomed Trump's support, but insisted they nevertheless wanted to remain in their country. And others who left decades ago are now returning.
It's so crazy. White South Africans, often referred to as refugees by the American right, are choosing to go back to South Africa, of all places, despite the ongoing white genocide that's taking place. And yes, that's the actual term that Trump himself used last year when referring to Afrikaners.
Yeah, that was crazy.
It's a genocide that's taking place that you people don't want to write about.
I thought it was hilarious. They damn well ain't no genocide. Damn well ain't no genocide, but I just thought it was kind of hilarious. And I'm like, you guys, we were just in Cape Town in November, right? We were just in Cape Town, probably the most beautiful city in the world, Cape Town, South Africa. And I'm like, y'all want to leave Cape Town to go to wherever Trump put them? Because when these refugees, when they come to America, they usually get put, Minnesota, damn cold ass North Dakota, the concrete jungle of damn New York. Like, who wants to go there? Who wants to leave Cape Town or have access to somewhere like Cape Town and go to cold ass North Dakota or South Dakota or damn Minnesota? Who wants to do that? But I guess these Afrikaners, okay.
Farmers are being killed. They happen to be white.
You heard that right. The president, who's complicit with the genocide of Palestinians in Gaza and ethnic cleansing in the West Bank, had the audacity to accuse another country of doing a genocide. And within his first month back in office, he took action to stop said genocide. He signed an executive order which basically accuses South Africa of hypocrisy, ironically enough, because they're accusing Israel and its allies of committing a genocide at the International Court of Justice, even though they're supposedly guilty of genocide themselves, according to Donald Trump and his delusions. Now, in the same executive order, Trump announced that he would punish South Africa for their quote-unquote genocide against white South Africans by cutting off financial assistance, and he also announced in that same executive order that he's rolling out a refugee program for Afrikaners, even though he's not letting anyone else into the country. And that's not hyperbole. David J. Beer, the director of immigration studies at Cato, reports not a single refugee in the world was allowed to come legally except for white South Africans. And they rolled out the red carpet for these motherfuckers, where the deputy secretary himself greeted them with open arms when they arrived.
Welcome to the United States of America. A lot of you, I think, are farmers, right? When you have quality seeds, you can put them in foreign soil and they will blossom, they will bloom. And we are excited to welcome you here to our country where we think you will bloom, and we will hopefully allow you to have fulfilling lives for your children. And then we will benefit alongside you.
So as you can see, they treat white immigrants very differently than black and brown ones. But it's not just that the Trump regime was incredibly kind to them, because kindness is one thing. They offered these quote unquote refugees cash assistance, as well as housing, free healthcare for a year, job placement assistance, and even legal aid.
See, I want to push back on this a little bit, though. Now, when Sleepy Joe was giving these Ukrainian immigrants money, so-called the Democrats had no problem with that. Hold on, let me pull this up. All right, when the Ukrainian immigrants or refugees, I'm sorry, They were getting cash assistance too. These Ukrainian refugees over a war that could have been avoided because, their regime is just corrupt as hell. And they'll put a battery in Zelensky's back. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. All these immigrants get so-called refugee immigrants get cash assistance. But yeah, the Ukrainian ones were getting money too. So the South African, the Afrikaners aren't the only white ones that was getting preferred treatment. Because under Sleepy Joe, the Ukrainian ones were too.
To help them navigate the complex American immigration system. And if these same benefits were offered to Black and brown immigrants or even refugees, like actual refugees, right-wingers would lose their fucking minds. They'd shit their pants and foam at the mouth and talk about how we just can't afford this. But since it's being offered to white people, we don't hear a peep from them. It's almost like their opposition to immigration has some sort of racial component. And, God forbid we call them racists, because we all know that accusing somebody of racism is actually worse than racism itself. But the question is, why would these white South Africans want to risk their lives and return home back to a country that supposedly wants to genocide them? Well, let's hear it from them. Reuters reports that the South Africans who are leaving are generally citing better quality of life and a lower cost of living as part of the reason why they're returning to South Africa. One South African woman who's lived in North Carolina said that health insurance is actually more affordable in South Africa, and she also prefers their schools, which isn't a shocker because we've defunded our schools in the United States. Now, a different South African expat implied that Trump was actually the reason behind his decision to leave. Reuters writes, Andrew Veitch left South Africa after being held up at gunpoint in his car, but now he feels there are greater threats in the United States, he said, citing mass shootings in public spaces, as well as violence by U.S. immigration officers. Quote, people are being shot in broad daylight. American citizens are being shot and killed, said the 53-year-old who moved to California in 2003. Quote, I don't want to live in a place like this. Goddamn. So things are so bad in the United States that this refugee is willing to risk his life and go back to a country where there's supposedly a genocide taking place. Right-wingers have got to have some cognitive dissonance when they read the story, right? Probably not. They're probably not going to read this story, and that's assuming that they can read it in the first place. But listen, in all honesty, I don't blame them. They say that, South Africa isn't necessarily perfect, but it's getting better very quickly. Whereas in the United States, things keep getting worse. The cost of living is skyrocketing. Health insurance keeps going up. Our schools have been defunded. And now we have an armed Gestapo terrorizing people in the streets. And they're saying this just isn't really a great environment to raise a family in. And I think that most people would probably agree with that. Now, to be fair, most of the South Africans leaving the United States, they've been here longer than their 2025 refugee counterparts, but that may soon change too, seeing as how a lot of South Africans are choosing to capitalize on a new portal that's letting them restore their South African citizenship if they so choose to. And a shocking number of them are seemingly seizing the opportunity. They're taking the government up on that offer, despite the genocide that Donald Trump is concerned trolling about. Now, we don't have exact numbers, but there is a growing return to South Africa movement on Facebook, where you have a lot of expats from South Africa that are living in Europe and the US who are planning to go back because the country's getting better. And on top of that, the people that Reuters spoke to, they said, we know people who are also returning home. But the biggest tell, in my opinion, was this. Reuters continues, Anton van Herden, CEO of employment agency DNA Employer of Record, said inquiries from white South Africans seeking to return had jumped 70% in the past 6 months. Angel Jones, CEO of Johannesburg-based recruitment firm Homecoming X, reported a roughly 30% spike in inquiries since 2024. Damn. And I've got to say, it's really coincidental to see a lot of white South Africans leave specifically after Donald Trump became president again. I wonder if there's a connection there. I wonder if he's objectively making the country a worse place to live. But basically, South Africans are choosing to jump ship because they don't expect things to get better in the United States anytime soon. Nobody does. But as bad as it is here, you would think that poverty and political instability and having an embarrassing imbecile as president is going to be preferable to genocide, right? Because if they go back home, they're going to be, well, as you might have guessed, there is no genocide in South Africa. Shocker, I know. But the white genocide myth became mainstream among the American right after white South African Nazis like Elon Musk served them that white victim narrative on a silver platter. The crux of their bullshit claim is that white South African farmers are being murdered and having their land stolen from them in a racially motivated crackdown by the South African government. But that is just not true. It's complete bullshit. The South African government passed the Expropriation Act, which clarified existing authority that it already had to expropriate land without compensation for the public good. Now, our government has a similar power. It's called eminent domain. But right-wingers claimed that the Expropriation Act was going to be used to steal land from white South Africans, since they still hold the majority of land in South Africa, even in a post-apartheid system. So the fear was that the government would try to mitigate past racial injustices and attempt to end institutional racism against the black South Africans by taking land from white people and giving it to black people. That never actually happened. In fact, the law hasn't even been used once. No land has been taken. And ironically, Trump, who's accusing them of doing this, has seized more land from white people than the South African government. He's seizing land to build his wall on the southern border. He's taking land from white people, but yet he's saying, oh my God, they're taking land from white people. That, my friends, is just so incredibly hilarious to me. Like, you can't make...
Let's fact check something real quick. Is Donald Trump seizing land on the southern border? Okay, so he's let's see here. Okay, all right. So, yes, part of his order security measures in his second term, President Trump has authorized the military to take control of federal land. Okay, so it's already owned by the federal government, and his administration is pursuing legal actions to seize private land through eminent domain for border wall construction. So, what land has Donald Trump actually took through eminent domain so far? So we had to fact check that. And are these white people? Because the southern border is predominantly Hispanic. So is he taking the land of white people? So we gotta fact check that. And the answer is right now, no. I'm reading an article. U.S. citizen Antonio Rosales Jr. shows a map of his property where the U.S. government plans to build a border wall in Laredo, Texas. And Antonio Rosales is not, he would be considered Mexican. So that's not necessarily true unless he's saying that the Mexicans are white, which in many cases Mexicans do identify as white. But anyways, go ahead, Passport King, unmute yourself.
Peace, Dennis, and everyone. Just want to chime in real quick.
Yeah. There's hold on one second, Passport King. Yeah, so this Commodore that we're watching right now, there's no, unless he could provide the proof that Trump has actually seized land from white folks on the southern border. He needs to provide that proof. If not, then he's just being like Joy Reid. All right, go ahead, Passport King.
Yeah, man, I got, both sides do it. You got people that just talk out there behind and make, and you know what? The ones that do that, I always look at them and look, I'm an independent. I'm not registered Democrat nor Republican. I've been that way since 18. So I don't kick for either party. I look at whose policy would best represent me and my people, being FBAs, and I've always been an independent. I was never a Democrat, and I got disillusioned with them. Nah, I was an independent since 18 because I peeped game a long time ago. But getting back to that commentator, whether it's Republicans, Democrat, liberal, conservative, whatever combination of terms you want to use, when they do stuff like that, they just like spit things out, whether they believe, it's one or two things. Either they're just lying, they know they're lying, or they're just they're so deranged and cut off from reality that they're not even existing in the same objective consensus reality that the rest of us are, and they don't take time to fact check things, and they just say whatever comes out their mouth. And they understand when they do things like that, they do themselves a disservice.
Okay, you're gonna bring up the whole who's gonna win midterms.
Oh yeah, the Democrats are getting washed.
Okay.
Period.
Why do you say that?
I'll give you a simple, real quick. You know why they want to get washed? Look what just happened. What was it? A day, barely 2 days ago in LA, California, with Karen Bass, where she approved $1 million to be given to Asian Americans who are so-called dealing with homelessness.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for the past several years, found U.S. slavery descendants, whether they go by freedmen or DOAS or ADOS, FBA, Sulan, I'm using all those terms interchangeably, even though I know there's some beef between, the founder of ADOS and FBA, but I'm not going to get into that. But whoever, the people who do these various terms, the descendants of U.S. slavery descendants, my people, we've been telling the Democrats, look, we're tired of voting for nothing. Y'all give something to every other group, and do you come to us and gaslight us, talk about we gotta vote for you, our ancestors died for right to vote, which is just twisting up the history and making false claims. And they always say, well, we can't just do something for the Black community. Kamala famously said in an interview, all right, now let's bring it back to California, Karen Bass. She gave $1 million specifically to Asian Americans in LA. No other group is included. Meanwhile, they're constantly telling Black Americans, foundational Black Americans, there's nothing they can do for us. And based on that is why the Democrats is going to get swept, at least in the national elections. State locals a little bit different, but for the nationals, they're getting swept just based on that.
Okay, go ahead, Big Vovo.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on the South Africans going back to Africa. That one guy you played, that's just a liberal white guy. I don't know why people just because he's white.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Go ahead.
He's the liberal. I just wanted to be known that the liberal whites are just as racist as the conservative whites. It's just they just pat Black people on the head because they know that Black people be concerned with symbolisms more than anything else. Symbolisms are more important than progress to Black people. It's just a black face and a useless black face in a high place. It's more important than having a white person there actually doing the work. Just as long as it's just a useless black face in a high place, Black people happy, and so they can say, "See, look, oh, we're so educated and all that." No, that time is up. We interested in results now. The rest of the shit we don't care nothing about. I don't care who you put in there, as long as they do the work. So that's just one thing. But they've been talking about this on TikTok about the South Africans going back. If this is true, that says a lot about Africa. That says a lot about Africa. Now, I've been called Trump. I voted for Trump, but I've been called Trump out about that lie. Because we've been new. White people live like kings and queens in Africa. But they is royalty. That's African royalty. White people in Africa, they get treated like royalty over there. Anywhere where there's a black country, a so-called black country, white people get treated like royalty. Not even a black country. Any people of color country, Asia, Latin America, you show up with some white skin, you become instant royalty. Ain't no genocide in no South Africa. You got white people willing to leave America to go live in Africa. That says everything you need to know about what's going on in Africa. There's a back to Africa movement of white people, but there is no back to Africa movement of Africans. Unbelievable. Appreciate you letting me speak, Donnie.
All right, go ahead, caller. Unmute yourself, caller. Unmute yourself, caller. Okay, go ahead, Tarka.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Peace.
Hey, this is not about the commentator, right? This is about the white folks going back to Africa, right?
Well, yeah,
I don't want to dwell on the commentator. It doesn't matter what he said, what he says.
Go ahead.
Yeah. With all due respect, hold on 1 second. Let me get rid of this.
Who's talking?
Can you hear me now?
Well, it was Collar's turn, but he didn't unmute himself.
All right, go ahead, Collar. It's his turn.
Collar.
Second.
Well, Collar, get it together. Let me pass it to Harker.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Collar. Go ahead, Harker.
Okay. Yeah. So when this first happened and Trump invited them over, I was like, they're going to eventually return. They're not staying here because, like Bobo was saying, they live in good over there. You see what I'm saying? And the funny thing is, some of the they got Trump for like an idiot, because one of the person that was here, one of the white folks that was here, he actually had a very lucrative business in South Africa that his other he allowed his other family member to run while he's here. So he was trying to kill two birds. I don't remember how the saying goes, but you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So all that shit was a bullshit lie. And the black South African, they are got to be the most docile, weak black folk ever. You see what I'm saying? There's no way they should have let them back in the goddamn country. No goddamn way. You see what I'm saying? Matter of fact, they should kick every last one of them out. You see what I'm saying? They should kick every last one of them out. As far as African American move to Africa, the Volvo is right again. They're moving like crazy. A matter of fact, they have, between Europe and America, there are 2 million illegal white people living in South Africa. Illegal. I'm not talking about the white people that's there. They're illegal too, but they're born there, so I'm not talking about them. 2 million illegal white people, but the black people in South Africa, they got a lot of smoke for other Africans right next door in Zimbabwe, border countries, Mozambique, and so forth and so on. Which in some cases they are from the same ethnic group. People like to say tribe, but I say ethnic group. They're from the same ethnic group, right? They got smoke for them. But if you talk to a white South African, a black South African, and you try to talk to them about the white folks there, they're ready to pounce and that's our problem. That's our problem. That's what come out of their mouth. Those people, the white people is going to take back over that country. I'm telling you, there's no hope for them. And I wish you had some years ago. You used to have some black South African come on your show. I don't know if you remember, but you used to have some. I wish somebody to come in here and explain this shit to us, because forget them. They are done. Forget about them. That's all I'm gonna say.
All right, go ahead, Carla.
Oh yeah, thanks for having me. Listen to Volvo go off topic about the demo. We don't gonna hear all that shit. It's not the topic. The topic is about these white South Africans, and this is what reflects on Africa. The brother just said, there's no way in hell that, and I've lost all respect for black South Africans, right? They went and they did the most dangerous treason thing you could do. They left their country, accused it of genocide, took asylum in another country. You know what asylum means? That means you're being persecuted. You cannot go back. Now, when things don't work out so well, now they want to come back to South Africa like nothing's ever happened. That's insane. And so the black South Africans are letting them back in, black government down there, but yet they're persecuting black Africans from other parts of Africa. They got all the smoke for Nigerians, Zimbabweans, all these other people like that, but the whites, and as long as we have this white supremacy mentality, this idea that black people can't do nothing, and it's not us, it's Africans. Africa's the problem. They have a serious inferiority complex when it comes to white people and where the world is. They really do believe that white people means civilization, it means advancement and stuff like that. And the more whites you have, look at these whites that came to America. The stupid idiot in the Trump administration said, I know you guys are farmers. You're going to plant. These people weren't farmers. These were people that were grifters in South Africa. South Africa had a whole segment of Afrikaners who don't work. They were getting free handouts from the government and everything. Life is easy from just being in white circle, just being white, right? They come to America and they realize you got to work. You got to get up every day, punch a clock. There was a video that's been around Dinus a couple of years where this white family in America took in this white family from South Africa for like 11 months, and they drained their bank account, used them, didn't work.
Yeah, I saw that.
And whatnot, and they said, man, we got played. This was a grift. And so it gets me as Trump got played by Elon Musk. The white South African, I would think the white American's the lowest. The white South African is lower than the white American. I'm talking about as far as white trash level. White South Africa is low. He benefits off the black labor in South Africa, the black economy, the black everything, the networks that South Africa has established. You go to South Africa here, we have Orange here in Liberia. I'm in Liberia right now. We have Orange, right? That's from South Africa, obviously, And you got ShopRite. ShopRite's not here, but it's in other parts of West Africa. ShopRite, that's South African. MTN, see here, that's South African. So South Africa, because of so-called Pan-Africanism, the white South African businesses have been able to have this exclusive market.
Carlo, MTN is owned by a black South African.
I think it's
Zimbabwean, black Zimbabwean, I think.
Yeah, but
I think ShopRite.
Yeah, but it originated in South Africa, and I know people who have trusted it and a lot of huge interest in it are white South Africans. I know that for a fact. Yeah, they put blacks at the face of it, the CEO and all stuff like that. But white people are going to benefit no matter what. Every business transaction goes on this continent. White people, white South Africans are going to make something out of it. You don't care what it is. There's very few things that they don't touch on the African continent. And now the Indians and Lebanese are following suit. But it is what it is. Now, that being said, they got all that advantage, right? They can open up a farm. They got access to African market. They got access to credit and capital and everything. Yet they're going to do that because the reason why they went to America is because despite having everything, they produced Elon Musk, richest man in the world. They don't like taking orders from a black government. That's all it is. Afriforum should have been arrested as a treasonous outfit like Al Qaeda or anything else.
Well said, brother.
You go over there and discredit, huh?
Well said.
What was that, Louis?
I said
you said well said. Go ahead. He said well said. Go ahead.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is the fact that they let that organization exist, right? When Afriforum met with Donald Trump, right, a year or two ago, them motherfuckers should have been arrested and tried. See what they did with the ANC, right? They tried the ANC for treason just for protesting. This white South African government white South Africa has access to the same system that black South Africa. They just don't simply have the numbers because everything they do is based on race. So they don't have the numbers, right? And they can't enforce their racial policy on the majority of black people. That's what they're mad about. That's it. They're not being oppressed, but they interpret it as genocide, even though there's more black people that get killed in South Africa on farms than white people. And white people getting killed is actually rare. They basically put this out there because the whole world is white people, and they even got black people thinking white people, white life have to be protected at all costs. And I always say like this, if you're living in rural Africa and it's dangerous, right? And stuff like that, people get killed every day. What makes you think your white skin is going to protect you more than anybody else? That's a chance you take. You decide to live in a conflicted land, and stuff like that around angry people. And sometimes it's criminals and rogues running around and everything. Stuff's going to happen. So in other words, basically, they're even talking about sending the U.S. I believe in my heart, before Trump leaves office, Nigeria is just a warm-up. Listen to what I'm saying about the land.
They're going to try and take over.
Nigeria was just a warm-up.
You said I went off topic. You going off topic.
No. I'm staying on topic because I'm still talking about South Africa, jackass. Look, they are going to invade South Africa. I'm sitting here. Last thing Trump does, he's going to go and invade South Africa. Somehow, some way, there's going to be American troops off the coast or on the ground and everything like that. And they basically, if you look at his foreign diplomat, he's basically telling South Africa, y'all got to get rid of BEE, Black Economic Empowerment. You got this, got this. How you going to tell a country how to run its internal affairs? So in other words, that's basically showed you that America wants to control South Africa, and the bottom line is, I think South Africa is going to respond. I don't know. I really don't know. To tell you the truth,
It ain't
I
gonna
don't
happen.
know. They don't.
Listen. If I can just interject, I am shocked.
No, it's going to happen. But what's South Africa going to do about it?
Yeah,
They said
nothing
you
to-
wouldn't think that Donald Trump would have sent troops into Nigeria, a bombing in Nigeria to happen, right? You know, who would have thought it was in full-scale war to Iran? What makes you think this can't happen? You know,
no, I was going to
especially
say
how strong Trump feels about white people.
I was going to say his biggest contributor to election was Elon Musk, the racist Elon Musk, who benefited.
Hey, Prince Louis, let me pass it to CD, and then after CD is you. Go ahead, CD.
Well said, Carla.
Hey, Dennis. Yeah. So my view on South Africa issue, this is not only white South African. Any African, that arrived in America, like the way I came in early 2000, you will be disappointed, no matter which part of Africa you're from, because when I first arrived in early 2000, that was in Harlem, The view at JFK was beautiful. And then when I got in Harlem, the light was darkening. I got into this building. I had my suitcase in my hand, and the guy who was hosting me told me that, oh, we are already here. This is where we're coming. And I was disappointed, right? So that would tell you,
Why didn't you get back on a plane and leave?
Okay, the reason is, even I would tell you, because you already left your family, right? It's a challenge to your life. You think
Let me finish. Look, I have no sympathy. I have no sympathy for anybody who leaves their country. You have nothing to complain about. Nothing.
Okay, let me explain what I mean.
The only thing you can do is go back to your country right now.
So, Carlos, they have only less than 4 million Africans here, right? They don't have many Africans in America, the way you guys exaggerated. Right. So let me finish.
Look,
here they have
it wasn't all that, and they went back. I do give them respect. They went back to their country. You guys
the way you guys
go back.
Right, the way you guys say it sometimes, you're making it sound like all Africans are coming. A lot of times you go to this African country, now only 1% of the population even has a passport, right? So let me finish my view.
Carla, you gotta let him finish. Carla, I can't hear him. You gotta let him finish. Go ahead, CD.
If you, for example, we're in Liberia right now, where you are, less than 1% of Liberians has passport. Less than 1%. They don't even travel.
Yeah, I love coming here.
Let me finish, Carlos. I respect you, Carlos. Let me
Carla, oh Lord Jesus, Carla, you gotta let him talk, Carla.
If I come to a country,
Carla, I can't. Carla, I'll bring you back on in a second. I can't do it today. Go ahead, CD.
So the amount of blacks in America, inclusive Caribbeans, is less than 4 million. That's the total of blacks. Right? In Senegal population is about 19 millions. They have less than 70 Senegalese in America. So I will tell you this. I know people that came through the border recently when Biden opened the border. Most of them have gone back. They left because at the time I was coming, things were a little bit better. But now most of them have returned. Because why? Some of them sold their properties, some of them sell their buildings, or some of their parents sell their properties. So they use this immigration rate as a reason for them to go back. But when I came, it was a challenge. Liberian Civil War was going on. I went to Sierra Leone to go to school. War broke out in Sierra Leone while I was about to finish college. So I was forced to come here. So this was the only last options for me. So I have to fight the system through, right? When I was, first of all, working as a back messenger when I was working with UN at the time. So I have to fight the system through to remain. I don't want to seen as a failure to go back home. But I will tell you, any African that come here will be somehow disappointed, no matter where you're from. Because people always think that what you see on the videos what you see on TV is that's not the reality until when you hit the ground. And once you come here, you see no more of homeless people and the way people struggling to even make it. You get frustrated, but you have to fight the system through. That's the challenge. That's always African mentality. That if you go back, they're going to take you to be a failure. That's the reason why a lot of people get stuck. All right. So white South Africans going back with the privilege that they have in South Africa, they have no other option. They just have to go back. They can't make it. First of all, as a refugee, when they bring you here, they will take you in some town, empty town, like somewhere around Detroit, where there's no infrastructure. They expect you guys to improve the place. Even when they brought Syrian refugee, they all went through the same struggle. But most of these people that come as a refugee, they come from war-torn country. But South Africa is not in war. The system, the infrastructure is working. The system works. So they have to go back.
Carla. Yeah, I just want to get.
So you saying that I couldn't go back? I have no other option, Carlos. I have to fight the system through to make it. That was the only option that I had on hand. So if I were like this white South African, where there was no war in South Africa, everything was functioning, America was not my option. When war broke out in Liberia, I went to Sierra Leone. And Sierra Leone war broke out, I had no other options but to come here. So that's the reason why I came here, right? But with the West South Africans, they already have everything in place. When you go to Johannesburg, it's no different from New York City, right? Especially if you have a good job. Things are cheaper there compared, like what Dennis was saying. If you're not happy in Johannesburg, you can go to Nairobi or Zanzibar, right? But not someone like Volvo was just trying to change the whole thing around, like the white privilege, black people are.
Hey,
This guy never traveled before.
Hold on, CD, 30 seconds. I gotta pass the Africa.
So someone like Volvo, the way he first of all, you were off topics. He was saying that white people have privilege back home, black people don't have. Now he's trying to change the whole story around because you never travel, you have no idea how Africa looks, you have no idea how the global system works. So you always go after Africans. And it's so sad to hear from something like that from you.
All right, let me pass the mic to Africa. Go to Africa.
Yeah, greetings, Ernest and the family. Brother CD, everyone else, salute to you guys. Please like, share, subscribe, and please support the channel. I've seen a lot of you guys, spending money on other platforms. You come here, it becomes stingy. But yeah, first of all, I know it's a certain trend about certain group of African people, with the white complexity and inferiority. It's very alarming. If you give me a pencil right now, I'll draw from what you call Southern Cameroon to Congo, all the way. I would take Zimbabwe out, and some of these few Southern African countries, including those in the southern, where I would say the Shaka Zulu trait, okay, of people. I don't know why, but they always have been kind of ornery. They always have been self-hating sort of black race towards other black people. It's a general trait. We can go back and break it down. If anyone disagrees with me, that's fine. But thank God to our ancestors in West Africa, we always have been pro-black. We managed to fight hard, regardless of the religion that we find ourselves in. But also we use that as a tool to keep West Africa black, and we still remain black. Apart of, sadly, Mauritania, that we managed to lose, but we still managed to hold on to our territory tight. And I'm one of the people that come from these people that actually been holding this line for years. Okay, from the Muslim side of Africa. And then when you talk about the Crusader side of Africa, if you go to the belts down in South Africa, it's very alarming. And I think South Africa and the white South Africans, they have certain type of hatred towards African people that I find really alarming than any other white race. Okay, what I notice about them, okay, they're very dangerous, and they don't just express their racism in the continent Africa against black people. They actually go out of South Africa, they go to the other African countries, and also they come to to Europe and America and team up against the other whites, against African people. So they're not just chasing us out of, the continent of our origin, and being racist towards us. They're using that money that they're making from the continent of Africa to come to the Western world and also target us. I'll give you a good example of that. The company that was called Corridor Holding in Connaught District, the town where I'm from, in the mining area of Sierra Leone. It was owned by South Africans. They breach their contract on all levels. They take the mickey out of the staff. They refuse to pay them in dollars. They refuse to follow their contract. And when the first lady actually stand up to them, they actually trying to use their money to take her to court when they know it's going to be a losing battle. And when I dig right into it, this company, who is mining and exploiting our people in Africa, they also own a lot of right-wing media companies in Europe, including the United Kingdom. Okay, so you can see the trait of these people, how dangerous they are. In my walk of line, I work with a lot of precision engineering companies in the UK.
Africa,
Okay.
about Africa. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you one question. Let me get in here, right? I hear exactly what you're saying, but did you also notice that they're also instrumental in fomenting tensions between Black people in Africa? They exploit different Africans against each other and stuff like that.
Yes, yes.
Do you remember the Afro Land Forum on Facebook? Remember that? That was run by them. That was run by Afro Forum, and there was basically a spy operation spying on all the Black nationalists and Pan-Africanists and whatnot. And they was basically what they were doing, bigging up Nigeria. Oh, look at Nigeria compared to this.
Isn't this off topic? Isn't this off topic?
Oh, this is on topic, man.
No, what Kala, ask your question so Africa could answer it.
No. What I'm saying is this: it's not just them targeting as far as like racism. They also they know how to use tribalism and things to exacerbate problems that really aren't that serious, but not that serious. Yeah, they're involved in everything.
Kala, what's your question, Kala? What
I'm saying is this: I was just asking, has he noticed that? It's not just.
Okay, go ahead, Africa. Ask your question, Africa. Answer the question, Africa.
Hey, can you drop me in the rotation? Can you drop me back in the rotation?
Yeah, you have the Prince Louis. Go ahead, Africa.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Dan. Yeah, Kala, thanks for the question. Yes, I agree with you 100%. You're right. They have been involved in doing that also, and they are in Congo as we speak. And they are bringing mercenaries in Congo. Like when you see, a lot of insecurity in Congo, they're part of it. And also, as I was saying before, Kala cut me off. Yeah, Kala, I agree with you. Yes, 100%. That's the case. But what I know is also the sector I work in. When I go to precision engineering company, I meet like white South African dudes. I've met about 4 of them in my line of work throughout. Been working for the company for the last 8 years. Okay. And when I go there, I meet them. Oh, I left Africa. It's very terrible. We get treated bad and this and that. And he come back like a year later. Oh, where's Josh? Oh, it's gone back to South Africa. I'm like, oh. And one of the last company, one of the dude who is a South African, his boss happened to be a very close guy to me, who I actually speak to all the time before he was employed. He himself said he actually have employed 2 South Africans. All they do is complain about Africa, but eventually they all return back to Africa, and it's crazy. These people just got deep hatred towards Black people than any former race, than any other outsiders as I speak. But let's not just, narrow this. Let's not just point out to the white South African. Also, the Indian South Africans are also
subject. Now you're going
okay. I am not.
Africa, you got a minute. I got to pass the mic.
Okay, so the Indian South Africans are also at it. I don't know if you guys know about Gupta. Gupta was one of the guys who was spending money, giving Jacob Zuma a lot of money campaigning to actually get rid of white people, to bring a lot of Indian people to replace white people. Okay, but what he was doing, he was stirring the hate between the Black and the white. Actually have a problem, but obviously that was sorted out when Zuma left office. Zuma was arrested. He ran away. He still got international warrants for him by the South African government. South Africa refused to have Black people in their land, but it's the only country who actually offered Palestinian refugees to come to Africa, okay, when Palestinians are treating black people, wrongly with racism in their own ancestral home in Palestine. The level of hypocrisy and quandary that South Africa demonstrates in the continent is very dangerous and is very scary. I pass the mic. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you.
Very good.
Go ahead, Louis.
Yeah, let me just go straight in. For some of us who are elder ones like myself, Carla, and Delroy, we know what happened during the South African era, okay? One of the most horrific times in Black history. Nobody should forget that. These people were so fucking wicked, excuse my language. They used to have an interrogation department of the police. And what they would do, they would grab up ANC supporters, they would take them to their farm, they tie them up against a tree and burn them alive while they were eating barbecue. This is facts. We forget, some of us younger ones, or we don't know the history, who these people were. These were illegalized clansmen on the continent of Africa. That was the biggest offense on the continent. The only way to deal with these white people is the way Robert Mugabe dealt with them. That's why they hate him, because he done the right thing for black people. Okay, now with that, I am shocked at the ANC and the behavior. After Cyril Ramaphosa went to the White House, the first thing he should have done when he came out of the White House is put a treason trial against that fucking Elon Musk. There should be a warrant out for that bastard's arrest. Bring him back to South Africa, try him, have him shot for treason. Everybody in the African Forum should be arrested and put behind bars.
I agree.
Okay? Sooner or later, they're going to have to go toe-to-toe with this white man. Okay? I've given up on South Africa a long time ago. And I'm a man who saw Jesse Jackson introduce Winnie Mandela in Brixton, and he actually had a 25-minute standing ovation. That's how much we were for South Africa. That South Africa turned out to be a cool nation because Mandela sold out. Sorry to say, the minute I saw a live documentary on the Mandela family, and they were playing Hollywood, and I saw the likes of Oprah Winfrey getting involved, after that's it, it's over, we're done. Okay, South Africa is a lost cause as far as I'm concerned. I pass the mic.
You're 100% right.
I got go ahead, Vovo. Vovo, unmute yourself.
Yeah, I'm here. I just want to say I'm never gonna forget when I seen the South African president sitting next to Trump, and Trump totally humiliated him, and he just had to sit there and take it, and it was a complete lie. He didn't stand up to Trump. He could have stood up to Trump and said, let's talk about how y'all treat the black people in your country. He didn't, because these people are cowards. They're cowards. They knew that, the whole world knew that was a complete lie about that genocide. It was a complete lie. And he had to just stand there and take it. That's the problem with Africa. The leaders are cowards. They're afraid of these white folks for whatever reason, whether it's their military, whether it's economics, whatever it is, whatever the reason is, they are afraid of these white folks. Now they gotta if I was the South African president, I would say we don't want them back. Other countries have said, I don't want those people back that left. We don't want them back.
Not even the Dutch want them back. Not even the Dutch want them.
No, what I'm saying is that there's other people that fled their country, and then their country rejected them and said, we don't want them back.
Who Bobo? What countries, Bobo?
It was some country in South America. I forgot exactly, but I remember seeing that. But they rejected them. They said that they didn't want them back. The South African president said, y'all humiliated me. Y'all knew that was a lie. Nobody think about you. Ain't nobody getting you in Africa. We don't want them back. No, they can't come back. You wanted them, you stuck with them. But they won't do that because they're afraid of Trump. Let me close this last part. Nobody's going to invade no South Africa. That ain't even, there's no reason. They already handled. The next stop for America. The next stop for America will be Cuba. Appreciate you letting me speak.
No, Trump won't be around that long. They're gonna get rid of him.
Who?
Who's getting rid of Trump?
American people will get rid of Trump. Trust me. They're gonna.
You're delusional. You have no idea what you're talking about.
Wait and see.
They're letting anybody speak though. Everybody get them microphone. The American people gonna get rid of Trump.
Go ahead, talk.
Yeah, man.
The war is ended.
Yeah. What Lewis was saying, he's absolutely correct. because like for instance, Jamaica was the first country, even when they barely got their independence, and they went to the UN and they protested against South Africa, and they said, "Listen, what's happening to Black people in South Africa? We are not going to have any business or any trade to do with South Africa." So they like started it, and all the countries, all of the Black world, Nigeria especially, they gave them so much help, right? And they turned their backs on them. Black South Africans, I don't know, they have a psychological problem, I think. Is something got to be wrong, because everybody was rooting for them. Everybody helped them. All the African countries around, like Botswana, Zimbabwe, everybody helped them. All the way up to West Africa, all the way up to West Africa. Everybody helped them. They turned their back on African people. They turned their back on Black people all over the world. Right here in America, people was much marches and protests. People was doing like African Americans was doing. You see what I'm saying? They should have been, listen. South Africa should have just said, when they get independence, Nelson Mandela's a traitor. He should have said, they should have said, listen, everybody, all Black people is invited to South Africa if they want to invest or stay, whatever they want to do. You see what I'm saying? I remember when Geronimo Pratt got out of prison, right? He said, even when he was in prison, he was writing letter to Nelson Mandela in prison. You see what I'm saying? And they got out here. When he got out, Nelson Mandela said nothing about the Black people here in America, right? And what the suffering they were going through at the time in the 60s and stuff like that. He didn't say nothing, but Geronimo Pratt supported South Africa. He when he got out of jail, he said he will spit inside. I was in front of Geronimo Pratt in the audience when he said he will spit on Nelson Mandela if he see him. That's so upset he was. So to close, Black South Africans are extremely. They're the most disappointed Black people in history, because so many people was hurt, rooting for them. Not only rooting for them, but they put out for them. And like I said, the money that Nigeria gave them, in today's money, it will come out to about $300 to $400 billion. All right, that's how much. That's the money worth today. About $300 to $400 billion. That's what they give them. People didn't eat lunch in Nigeria just so that they could support the movement in South Africa. They gave up their lunch money to support the South Africans, them, and they don't remember that.
Yeah, I believe they're right. That the Afri Forum, okay, is an example of how the whites have been left to. They didn't pay a single. Not one Black person lost their hair on their head for what they've done in front of the whole world in modern times. South Africa took place in modern times. Okay, even you speak to anyone.
You're forgetting the best part. They went there, and as a British guy, came there, South Africa, and talked about succeeding Western Cape and Northern Cape as a republic.
He's a racist. He's
about building a Euro stand in South Africa.
Listen, all white systems are connected, but these particular white South Africans, because they've lived there with Black people, they've been studying and they've been practicing things for a long time, so they know exactly what to do. They created a whole race of people who known as the coloureds, just to upset, just to go between the Black people and cause trouble. That's why I don't have. Every time I see a white South African,
I want to say one last thing before I jump off. One last thing. Right now, Dinas, I don't know if you heard. I meant to say a thing. There's a campaign led by Sirleaf, a former president of Liberia, to repeal Liberia's racial laws banning white people from citizenship.
I heard about that. Yeah,
and I'm saying to myself, they don't understand something. When you bring whites in, they don't come alone. They're coming with a global power structure behind them.
Yep.
You know, so these dumb Africans who think, oh yeah, the right thing to do, but most Liberians don't want to hear that shit. You know what I'm saying? So if it does, there'll be a war in this country. You know,
Is that going to pass? Is that going to pass, Carlo?
No. They got to amend the Constitution. It's not ever even going to happen. You know, Liberia.
To pass what, Carlos?
A bill to allow white people to acquire Liberian passports, city.
Well, that's not going to happen. It never happened before. I mean, that's why it was so important that African American really ruled Liberia for years. And when Doe came, Doe picked up the whole.
Kyle, city. Oh God, Jesus. I'm trying to hear city. Go ahead, city.
So when I remember when I was a kid, my dad told me that Tobo seized all properties from the white folks and the Lebanese. And that's how he was able to buy gas stations and also mining businesses, because you got to know the Lebanese were involved in all businesses, right? So when Tobo came, because Totme was somehow womanizer, so he let the Lebanese to do a lot of things. But when Tobo came to power, he seized all businesses from white people, from the Lebanese. And that's how our parents were able to get all these businesses, like running gas businesses and money. So I remember some Lebanese, because a lot of Lebanese were there in Liberia at that time. So I know Lebanese that came in America, they never had Liberian passport. They up to this time, they didn't give them citizenship. Liberia is the only country that did that. And it was true American Liberian, African Americans, because they had that mentality already about white people. So they didn't give them that white privilege, right? So Liberia was free of, getting passport to white people or Lebanese. Not a single Lebanese will ever get Liberian passport. You will never see it. And I don't think it will ever happen.
All right, go ahead, Carla. Go ahead, Carla. I got past the Kidola.
Yeah. So like I said, building what CD was just saying, it's true. See, Liberia is like the closest thing you're gonna get to an African, what that means, a Black African homeland. And what happening right now is a resurgence in Diane. I wrote a blog, I'm gonna send it to you, called that International Focus magazine want to publish. And I was like, it was called Liberia, 1945 to 1980, the golden age, right? The golden age of Liberia is when Liberia really became a modern republic. It caught up with the rest of the world, 35 years, 1945 to 1980. Now what you have right now is young Liberians are now embracing their full history. They're going back and saying, well, we're the first republic, 1847. Our ancestors did this. We wrote a constitution. They're bringing in this beautiful thing going on right now. They're going up against other African countries. We've had the first African airline, the Air Liberia. They're going back in their history and taking pride in what my ancestors and all of us came from America and built. Before, it was rejecting everything that happened before 1980. Those are Congo people. Now they're embracing it because they have a race conscious. They understand we're all Black. Finally, we're all Black. It doesn't matter whether you came from America or like that, And white, and let me tell you something, and I'm gonna jump off. Somebody was just saying a little while ago, I think it was about Africans. The white South Africans and the races did manage to penetrate Liberia, Dinus, in the 70s. They managed to get in there. And you know what they were doing? Same thing they did in Rwanda, spreading hatred between different groups of Black people. And that's how you had that coup and the rice riots. And that's how you had that genocide in Rwanda. They around Africa went out with their smiles and their stuff. But look, I respect white people who stay out of Africa. I don't want nothing to do with Black people. The white people in Africa.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the passport date.
Let me pass the mic to Kidola. Go ahead, Kidola.
Okay.
Kidola, unmute yourself.
Yeah, let me give a brief something, Dana. I'm very happy the brother for Jamaica who said Nigeria helps South Africa. You see, most of these Africans we see now, especially those in West Africa, they never mention nothing. Nigeria never talking about Pan-Africanism, but Nigeria was in front of that so-called Pan-Africanism, followed by Julius Nyerere of Tanzania.
Bro, everybody was against white South Africa, bro.
Hold on, man. We were the bank, you know.
much, bro.
Our oil boom up to 1990. Peter Botha almost said he would nuke Nigeria. He would nuke Abacha at that time. The Abacha said, try it. You know, try it.
Well,
Up to 1990.
When Bacha was president, Kiola, apartheid was already done. You know, Bacha was
No.
president in like the late
No.
90s.
Abacha
You're thinking
came
of
in.
Babangida. You're thinking of Babangida.
No,
was president.
I think Babangida was the one there. The Abacha was the Minister of Defense. So what I'm trying to say is this. These were white South Africans that came to the States. They're not emotionally bound to that society. The language is different. The society is different. They live in a very huge land in South Africa. Coming to the United States, staying in 2-bedroom, you know, in a small confined territory, and looking at these white Americans speaking with their American accent, they're not used to it. These are, in the way, these are warm weather white people. You know, they're not used to cold or whatever they want to take them to. You know, so they will leave America and come back to their luxurious, huge land, huge compound. Their people have access. They don't control South Africa business. I will not blame Black South Africa really like that. They're not really used to businesses or how to raise businesses. These are people who clean houses. If you have to understand, the white people were using them as pool cleaners, house girls, digging the mines and everything. So coming to big business and others will not be with them like that. And actually, they don't want to learn from the Zimbabweans and other Africans that surround them. They already know how to do business, so they can introduce them to neither many businesses for competition against the white people or big businesses. The elite of the ANC, they took over everything, you know. And guess what they did? After they released Mandela, Mandela was even very happy. They wrote Elizabeth number in his pocket. So you can call this movie star. All the movies he was watching in that jail, he was having access to them on telephone. Hello, Elizabeth, I'm here. I'm out now. Queen of England will invite him. He will sleep in the palaces. He forgot about his activism. He forgot about freedom without no economical power. Actually, don't really exist. They just give you the political power. Okay, be president, but the whole economy is being controlled by the white. So the Black South Africans are really backward in that. I think it will take some time. And when you live with people, and these people are telling you, oh, Africans are coming. The Black South Africans never see themselves as really Africans. Let's just be honest. They have the color, the other one. So when they see other Africans, they call them, oh, you Africans. And that will shock other Africans, like, okay, they don't really, apart from Malema that's making noise, you know, they're really different because they've been brutalized a lot by the white people. They learn from their master, you know, so they're going after other blacks because of the economical empowerment they have and everything by the white people. It's just the level of the understanding. They can easily be manipulated by the whites. I think not too long ago, they found out a white billionaire was even the one using them to say, oh, immigrant, that, because they want to control those ones who actually can taught these people or teach these people how to do business, because things have to be done and things have to be, you know, other Africans have to teach them, hey, look, you can set up this business, wait for 5 years, it will grow, you will get head to head with these people, and they're not there yet, you know. So that's just what I want to say. God bless Africa. I think definitely this will run well. Thank you.
No, go ahead, V. Go ahead, V.
Oh, hello, guys. Hello, Dennis. I hope all is well at your end. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, we can hear you, sister. Carry on. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I've only got a few things to say regarding what is happening in Africa and concerning these South Africans that left and now they're going back to South Africa. The fact of the matter is, for many years now, our leaders in Africa has failed us. They have failed us woefully. They have the reason is they are so into stealing. Now they are stealing, blatantly. They don't care. They're not hiding it anymore. So they don't want to empower the local people. They don't want to invest in the local people in terms of education or even giving them chances to try and raise them, say, in businesses. They would rather go out and get foreign nationals. And particularly, there's a group of people in West Africa that they are even more dangerous than these West South Africans you guys are talking about. And they are the Lebanese and the Indians. Go to West Africa now, the whole West African economy. I don't know much about Nigeria, but I could say definitely in places like Ghana. Ghana now, the Chinese have also got involved now. Ivoria, all the way to, say, Senegal. Our economy is being controlled by particularly the Lebanese. They're using the money to boost their economy back home. Somebody, a professor once told me a few years ago that without West Africa, the Lebanese country will collapse. And our leaders are watching because they are in cahoots with them. They are helping them still. They are there to make money they come into power, and their sole aim is to enrich their families, but not the people of the nation. And that is why these people are taking advantage of us. Many of these leaders, either they don't know history or they choose not to know. Because we've been dealing, as I always say, go back to your history. Even just 500 years ago, what were we doing? Our ancestors got involved in slavery. A few of them participated with them because they were making money. And who benefited even when it came into enslaving of our people, dragging them all to the Caribbean and America and all over the place? It's the white people. Black people in Africa, we even became more poorer by engaging with them in this slavery that went on. And we all know what is happening to most of the blacks that were taken and the treatment and everything else that they have enjoyed and suffered. So I don't know why the black man, even till today, don't want to learn that you deal with these people at your own peril. And concerning South Africa, they control everything. They control about 80% of their economy. So what has the black people got? They've got very little. And when apartheid ended, you have a group of white black people that they got involved with these people, and they too became filthy rich. And this current president is one of them. What's his name? Ramaphosa. It's one of those groups. They became this elite black people that they became so rich, they neglected their people. So I don't know what it is that the African needs to do. And we always, when it comes to the people on the ground,
leaders accountable. Africans need to hold their leaders accountable, sister.
Exactly. They need to. Instead of Africans, you see the Nigerian will call the Ghanaians haters. The Ghanaians are fighting for what they don't have. And they see you people coming in, taking the little that the leaders have left for them. This is what we're doing to each other. The same thing is happening in South Africa. Instead of we to hold those leaders that they're doing this to us accountable, we blame ourselves. Oh, this group are doing this to us, that group are doing that to us. And in the meanwhile, they're enriching themselves so fantastically, it's unbelievable. We have a president in Ghana now that came in, slated the old president for doing all the misdeeds and everything else that they did and left. You know what he's doing now? He's taking our gold mines and giving it to his brother.
His brother, yep. He's going to get more than that as well.
He's taking our mines and giving it to his brother. I mean, what is this, people? If we, the Africans, don't stand up and fight this monstrous of leaders, there is no good quality leadership in Africa. I'll say about 90% of them are crooks and thieves. That's who they are. I mean, look at the Congo, for instance. This Tshisekedi, you came there, your country have so much problem. What did he do? He goes and impregnates his foreign secretary, who's the female, yeah? Impregnated her, and became a big scandal. I said, see this man, your people are dying. Instead of you to sit there and find out solutions to how you're going to help solve the problems that Congo has been plagued with all these years. What did he do? He goes and impregnates his foreign secretary. I mean, it may seem small in the scheme of things, but this is the kind of mentality of leadership we have. And the people, you have a group of people over there that will support them to the hill. Oh, because he's my tribesman. Oh, because he's I like the way he looks. I like the way he speaks. And so forth and so on. Oh, because I'm benefiting from the crook and the thieving that they're doing. It is so sad. You can't always sit there and blame the white man. The white man is only taking advantage of because our leaders are allowing it. All these group of people, they come into Africa and they make it. They make it fantastically, right? And we, the blacks, say African Americans, they go to Africa and they struggle because they have a different mentality. They have this thinking of, oh, African, Pan-African, majority of the African Americans, or say the black in the diaspora, maybe in the Caribbean or the Brazil and other places that go to Africa, they always have this Pan-African African mentality. That is why they don't. But these people come in and they join in with our daylight robbers and they rob us blind. That is why I don't know what else we can do except the people rising up and getting rid of, killing all of them, get rid of them, kill them. They all need to be shot. Apart from a few that I can mention that they're trying their best. The rest are just thieves. Yeah. All of them.
Sister, some of our people come from certain backgrounds where you cannot get through no matter what. They vote on religious ground and tribal grounds.
Yes.
You know that. I know that.
Yeah.
When we get election in Ghana, you know that 80% of them will vote for only a Muslim or someone from the north. Now we got to incorporate them. How long can we keep doing this?
Yeah, well, that's you can say the same thing about the other side. The reality is
no. Brother, I'm talking about our problem. This is a big problem for us. And we come from Ghana. We come from Ghana. We come from one of the better countries. We need to select people on their character and what they do, what they say they're going to do.
You know, as Carla was saying, as CD was saying earlier, you know, we in Sierra Leone, we thank God to the African Americans settlers who came, you know, to the country earlier, around the 70s.
Your country is in the hands of the Lebanese. So why are you thanking the African Americans that came there to do it?
No, but can I stop? No, hold on. I did not interrupt you. You didn't understand what I was trying to say. I don't know why you're actually trying to interrupt me. Sorry. Okay. What he was saying, what we're trying to say is here, the Lebanese, obviously, they've been in Africa around the 18th century, okay? It's the British who brought the Lebanese. You know, they brought them there as
from them. We have not benefited nothing from
them. Hold on. Can you not interrupt me? When you were speaking earlier, I did not interrupt you.
Thank you. Speak up then. You know, I mean, you responding to what I'm saying, and that's why something's coming to my mind, and I'm just pointing your.
I listen. I don't want to engage in an argument. Sorry, if you're gonna be like that, I'm just gonna mute.
Just let me debate. It's not argument. Just speak. I'm listening.
Thank you. So basically, what I'm trying to say is, right, in terms of Christian, Muslims, you know, this tribe, that tribe, this is what I was trying to say. You know, this is the problem. Sometimes you need to listen to other people instead of just jumping into the conclusion, you know, think you know everything. It don't make no sense to me. Basically, we have less problem with this regionalism and with this religious differences, okay? In Sierra Leone, we are a majority Muslim country, but we don't vote based on religion. That's my point I was trying to raise before you interrupted me, okay? And, you know, if you have any decency, you probably will apologize now. But basically, what I'm trying to say is, okay, so basically, a lot of African countries, have been brainwashed by foreign religions. So basically, their life, their bread and butter is all about religion. You know, they're Muslim, let's vote for this one. He's a Christian, let's vote for this one. No. You know, in Sierra Leone, if we're going to say there's one country that ruined our country based on religion, we'll say the Christians. But you don't see the majority. You don't see the majority. Hello. You don't never hear the Sierra Leoneans say, "Oh, we have majority 70% population of Muslim, but we have minority Christians destroying our life." We don't see it like that because we see them as people as one of ours.
No, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I will attest that. Sierra Leone is a very liberal country. They have no problem with religion at all.
On the religious route, please, because that's another problem on its own. I'm talking about.
Okay. I am just trying to address what you just said in Ghana, that the Muslim in Ghana would vote according to religion. I said that's one good thing that we had from the African American brothers who came to Liberia and Sierra Leone
In the
that
beginning.
show us that yes, that actually brought this foundation of acceptance of our own people, regardless of their religion. That's my point. Let's not make it as a religion, okay? So now, the reality is that we have in the continent, the colonial masters, whoever they are, the British, the French, they brought people with them to supervise us when they leave. So that's the reason why they still have some kind of foothold in the continent. Because you thought they left. That's why Idi Amin, you guys spoke so many times. You never mentioned Idi Amin. Idi Amin was one of my guys. Okay, Idi Amin, he knew that. He thought these guys have left, but really truly they haven't really left because they left their people behind who is actually going to administer their system. So he refused it. Okay, and when we talk about so when we talk about this nationality, in the continent, giving of other Europeans or other people, passport. To me, honestly, I don't see that as a big deal because we are living in the UK, America. We still carry different passport. Okay, we carry their passport. However, it's hold on. It's our legislative. Our system, our institutions are not functioning. Exactly. So if our institutions are functioning, like the guy in South Africa, a British guy who is a British national, who tried to divide the Western Cape from the rest of South Africa based on race, if the South African government have any institution that's functioning, he should be banned from the country. If you have a South African passport, that should be removed. If you have any type of residency, exactly.
After 30 seconds, I'm gonna let V respond.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. So he should be expelled from the country, and those people who have been given nationality under the grounds of naturalization, they can actually bring laws and revoke those passports from them because the West is doing it. So why can't Africa do it? Thank you, thank you, sir.
Go ahead, V.
My what I was saying is, I think maybe there's been some sort of misunderstanding that's happened there. What I'm saying is, it's not the people that's coming in or holding whatever nationality that they want to hold in Africa there. What I'm saying is our leaders are in cahoots with them and disenfranchising us. That is what I'm saying. Our leaders, because they want to steal, they rather cooperate with them. They rather bring them in than embolden or help our own people to get into businesses or to China. I'll go back to China.
Just come in when you finish. Yeah, just to address that. Yeah, just to address that problem, V. What happens? I've been a fellow Ghanaian myself, and I've got people in these positions. I know how it works. They use politics to do business. Nothing wrong with that. It happens the world over. Okay, in the corridors of power, decisions are made that affect people. Okay, now as Nanadu say, you got to get into that position of power in that corridor to make a difference. Okay, now this is what's happened with us in Ghana. People are forgetting when Rawlings came in the second time, he had a group of soldiers with him who were very badly minded. The whole idea was to make sure that they stayed in power under the military junta and that nobody else could test them. Who's the next person that can test you when you're in positions of power? Businessmen, because businessmen have access to money. Many Ghanaian businessmen were chased out of the country. There's several of them that took off on foot, running.
And listen, let me just butt in there. And you know what he did? He brought in the Lebanese and the Indians. He chased indigenous Ghanaians out of the country, whatever. And Rawlings brought in the Lebanese and the Indians.
Thank you. But the Lebanese, if I might say, they were already there and they are opportunists. But what happened was...
but he sold those businesses that he took from the Ghanaians to them.
That's it. So he scared a lot of the rich Ghanaian people. The ones up from abroad didn't want to invest. How my uncle survived that time, I don't know. He used to ring us and we could hear the bullets getting shot off in the airport residential. But he managed to survive it because he didn't get involved in politics. But many of the other businessmen that he knew took off. Some of them even went as far as Highland, set up a bed furniture company there that I got to meet the man in the end. But what happened was during that military junta, a lot of businessmen fled the country. So he replaced them with people who were willing to do business, like the Lebanese, some of the Indians. And luckily, right, it didn't become a flood like they got in South Africa and other parts, like in Kenya and so on. Right. So what's happened is that a lot of Ghanaians with money to invest. It's only now that they're beginning to take the money back to Ghana because of what happened during the military junta. When I remember myself rolling, setting up a law that anybody's got money above a certain amount, you got to come in and explain how you got it. People were having their possessions repossessed, not because they were done anything bad, but because they might be powerful enough to challenge the government and set up a new political party. So this is the problem we have created for ourselves on the continent, and we've got to get rid of that. The leaders have got to stop colluding with foreigners to keep us out of businesses. If you're not empowering the local people to get loans to start businesses, you're not helping your country. That's what we got.
I gotta read these super chats. Heck, I gotta read the super chat. Hex GP, thank you for $5 holla. Should South Africa adopt Tanzania's model state, own the land, lease to citizens, boost local economic participation, and reduce ownership imbalances? Hex GP, thank you for another $5 holla. Do we have real solutions for Africa's economy, or do we just prefer complaining and repeating African unity without plans that search for Huru? Go ahead, V.
Yeah, I mean, currently the most richest people in Africa now are politicians. You know that. They are not entrepreneurs. They are not inventors. They are not people that have created it. The most richest, and I mean filthy rich people. I know somebody that I schooled with in Europe, right? And that guy had literally nothing, because I used to meet him at his cousin's house, and that's why he used to go and have his meal, because he literally had very. And a party that he support won. I don't want to mention the party because they all do it anyway. Won, and now the guy I see him now in Ghana. He's a millionaire, so absolute millionaire. And he had nothing, and he never done a day's work. He never opened a factory. He never did anything. So the most richest people now in Africa are politicians. And there was an American president that said that, you know, you can't make money in politics, not unless you are a crook. I forgot the person's name. One of your presidents said it. It's unbelievable. So
we know they all go there for money. We know they all go there for money. They don't go there to make any difference. That's not new.
And we sit there and we complain.
The point I think she's trying to make is that the politicians need to empower the regular business. They need to create business people. Or political parties.
Right. I agree with
people come up, or else you're gonna get nothing but the Lebanese. I can't knock the Lebanese. They're trying to survive.
Yeah, in a way, you know, I mean, look at you know, a country like you know, Liberia, for example. You know, as you were saying, you know, if you look at the Madingo and the Fula community, are the one that take over a lot of the business sector there. You know, and they're not dying, and I think they should help them more. And actually, you know, the government should help those two communities, because they're very business people who actually expand through borders. You know, and help them actually build, so they could actually control the sector and employ more local people, but they wouldn't do that. You know, that's it. You know,
Africa with the situation in Liberia, you know, that's why when these country people, with the military people came and overthrew Togo government, they just destroyed our country.
Yep.
When they were in power, the African Americans were in power. They opened all these country people eyes. Give them businesses, took all businesses from Lebanese, from white folks. You would never see Lebanese carrying Liberian passport. They were restricted doing small businesses, like having stores, but anything like a mining was controlled by black, you know, Liberians. Gas station. That's how my dad was able to get into mining. That's how my dad was able to get into oil business, into gas business.
Right.
He told me when I grew up, he told me that when they killed Tobo, he cried like a baby. When these country people came and took over, they destroyed the country and started killing each other.
Yeah.
That's how they destroyed our country. That's why I would never support military government, no matter how they are. You know, that I would never support military government. I'm 94 8 years. I'm not a big fan of 8 years because I know they're going to destroy all this country.
Yep.
We experience it. Liberia was a golden star. Liberia was a country where everybody used to run to. My dad told me we had USD. Yeah. Everybody wanted to go there. When you talk about Hotel Africa, when you talk about Duco Hotel, there were Felix Ofuibonye took the hotel that they have in Abidjan right now. They call I think Plateau. There where he took the design. African OAU first meeting was here in the town that I was born, Sani Kole. With Sekou Touré, Tobor, and Kwame Nkrumah in the town that I was born. Oh, you check it, just Google it. first all you was here there. So that's how black people was so important. When these country people came, they destroy the whole country. You know.
I agree. The African American Caribbean influence in the coast of Guinea is not to be underrated, guys. I'm telling you, and that's the reason why even Sekou Touré had that Pan African mindset. You know, it's because of those two countries that's right next door, Sierra Leone and Liberia. You know, they have the Pan African School of Thought from the Caribbeans and the African Americans who came to settle there. They saw everything that happened between the black and the white. Remember, the British came to Sierra Leone and followed the African American and the Caribbean and lived there. Freetown was a different part of Sierra Leone. To enter into Freetown, Dinah's been to Sierra Leone. Freetown, when you get into Upgon Tom Table, you have to pay tax to get into Freetown. Okay, if you don't pay tax, you cannot even bring your goods into the capital city to sell. So the locals have to fight, like people like Baibure. They're like, no, you cannot come and enslave our people and take over and enslave them and brought them back to their ancestral home. And now you're building a toll gate, telling the people of the land they cannot go into there and sell. My answer, my people, I know people that went to Liberia from Sierra Leone who made loads of money. Majority of the people in Guinea that have money and Senegal today that have money, they made their money from Sierra Leone and Liberia, bro. Majority of West Africa, that's where they made their money. It's because of those influence. So when I hear people online now they're bashing African Americans or Caribbeans or this and that, we could do better than you. They just dusted, bro. They don't know nothing. Absolutely nothing, bro. Because they don't understand.
African Americans, or say the black diaspora, as you say, because if it's African American, then you just
I mean the some Africans who on the internet saying stuff, about this. They don't mind. Let's not change. Yeah, let's not change the conversation.
For me, I believe that a black in the diaspora experience in Africa, if they are allowed, it will be a positive thing for Africans. That's what I believe. But a lot of
because they're African first. They're African first. They're not tribalistic people. Okay,
that's what I mean. They're not into tribal and often they are very Pan-African. Many of them that comes to that I've experienced in Ghana have a very strong Pan-African mindset that they want to come in and contribute. And they do, vast majority. You get a few that they've come in and things have gone bad for them and on the internet bashing, but they're just a few. I mean, you get people like that everywhere. Majority that I have experienced in Ghana, they come in with the mindset of contributing. They come in.
You don't have to be.
Hey, guys, let me pass the mic to Passport King in the bang. Go ahead, Passport King, and then after Passport King, Taraka, if you want to add something to the bang, go ahead to Passport King.
Thank you, Dinus. I want to make my closing remarks. First, I want to add on to something. I think a lot of people, they're unaware that a large reason, no disrespect to Tahaka, but I got to tell the real story. Black Americans, whatever terms you want to use, foundational Black Americans, freedmen, ADOS, DOS, Sulan, is different. U.S. slavery descendants use different terms. We are largely responsible for apartheid ending in South Africa. And I'm going to explain it right now. Stevie Wonder was advocating for the end of apartheid in South Africa back in the 1970s. He was one of the first major globally recognized artists to bring attention to that. It didn't just happen overnight, and it built into the 80s and into the 90s. In the 90s, the Black community put so much pressure on the then president in the White House. I believe at the time it would have been, let me see, this is the 1990s.
Reagan.
So that would have been late 80s, early 90s. So that would have been around the time of Reagan, Bush. So just before the 90s came in, that's what ended apartheid in South Africa, because the United States government, and here's the thing, you don't got to take my word for this. You can Google search and look this up. The Black community got the American government to divest out of South Africa, and that ended apartheid, because once the United States pulled out money, everything else.
Brother, it was worldwide.
Brother?
It was worldwide, bro.
Okay, and the United States would have continued to support South Africa, apartheid would have continued. The United States
they did continue to support them. They did,
the United States pulled out, that ended apartheid South Africa, and also Black Americans was pushing from that going back to the 70s. So we don't get the respect we do. If the Black Americans in this country,
who told you that? Who told you that though? That you don't get the respect you do,
bro? It's documented history. You have to believe me.
But who told you that you don't get the?
Give me, troll me. It's not. Hello. What did I just say? It's documented history. It's no trust me, bro. You can verify this. It's
Verify what though? Verify what?
That the U.S. government divested out of South Africa, and that's what ended apartheid.
U.S. government was one of the last countries to divest from South Africa. They were supporting them for the last.
And if the U.S. were to continue to invest in South Africa, apartheid would still be going on to this day.
The problem with you, bro, you're too young. We were there. The older one of us was there.
I'm not too young. I'm Gen X.
Nah, you're young, bro. You're young. Trust me, you're young.
The United States divested that ended apartheid.
Let the brother make his point that even though he can come back after him.
If the United States were to continue to invest in South Africa, apartheid, I ain't gonna say I won't. Well, I would hope it wouldn't still be going on to this day, but it would have went on far longer than what it did.
No, it wouldn't.
Americans made that possible.
No.
The reason why
everybody contributed, bro. Everybody contributed.
Okay, so since everyone contributed, why didn't apartheid end beforehand before the United States divested? Let me give it to you. Why didn't it end before?
Because the wicked white people were supporting.
You act like he wasn't weakened.
No. I gave you a straightforward question. Since everyone contributed, why didn't it end before the United States divested? Give me a clear answer.
What do you mean? Why didn't it didn't end right away? It didn't end right away when they divested. It didn't end right away, bro. They had Cubans fighting. What? Listen, I'm not even going to get
Has been under sanctions for
Cuba.
What the hell could Cuba do?
Neighboring countries to fight.
What do you mean? What Cuba do? Man, get off the platform, bro. You don't know. You're too young. Get off the platform.
What the hell could Cuba do?
Get off the platform. Get off the platform. Get off the platform. Get off the platform. You don't know shit.
Under sanctions for decades. What the hell?
You don't know nothing. Get off the platform. Get your FBA ass off the platform. Get off the platform.
What did Cuba do there?
What do you mean what Cuban did? Get off the platform. You're an idiot. Get off the platform.
You're talking crazy. You don't know what you're talking
about. Get off the platform. You're an idiot. Get off the platform.
Crazy.
You dummy. Get off the platform. Get off the platform, dummy.
Hey guys, can we not with the name? No name calling. I kind of want to calm down on the name calling.
You know, the United States government. So see,
you spoken up already, Dennis. He's spoken up. Get him off.
Notice how.
One second. Notice Passport, you got 1 minute, Passport. I'll pass it to
okay. I'll say this real quick. Notice when I asked a simple question, since they're trying to downplay the United States divestment and then apartheid, I asked them, okay, how come it happened before? Notice how hostile they got and how angry. Instead of giving me a simple answer. No, you couldn't give a simple answer. So that's one. And here's my last final point I want to end. This ties back into the whole South Africans coming to America and why they can come back to South Africa with no consequences. You notice the YouTube video link I dropped in the StreamYard's chat, Dinus. You probably see it. That's to a video interview from 3 years ago from Soft White Underbelly. They interviewed some Tanzanian immigrant from Tanzania in America, and he's pretty much babbling the whole interview. It's really a waste of time, but I time stamped it at the key part. Near the end of the video, before it concludes, he talks about how wonderful it is for white people to visit Africa, his country, or any country. Talk about how Africans just seeing a white person, how inspirational it is. They're not putting words in his mouth. This is him talk. No, don't cut me off. Hold on. No. Miss, you gotta show some respect. You're old enough to have better control of yourself, ma'am. Control yourself. The point of that video, and the reason why I put in the chat, that paints a very broad picture of how most Africans think. Y'all got two forces you got to deal with. One, you got your tribalism. Y'all will kill each other with machetes, utilize each other for beef and back centuries. That's one aspect. The other aspect, y'all worship white people.
Yeah, what you been doing all this time in America?
We built this country. We're in the country we belong. We ain't worshiping. We're in the country of our ancestors.
Yeah, you built it. You invited a white man to come and rule it.
Hold on. FBAs aren't immigrants to America's dummy. We built this nation. Why would we leave the country that we have invested and built up? We don't have to leave the United States.
Why is the white man running if you build it?
Black immigrant. Hold on. You black immigrants. Whether you're black Caribbeans or Black Africans. Y'all always project it. Y'all the ones coming to either USA or Europe, and then you trying to accuse us of being close to white people. We didn't have to
They got
immigrate.
20 million Americans live outside of America.
Hold on.
You
So
fool.
what?
20 million.
And people got 5 toes on each foot and 5 fingers on each hand. What the hell are you saying, man? You just
Exactly. So what the hell are you saying?
Just be quiet.
What the hell are you saying?
You babble. You babble. So anyway, my point is
Man,
between the tribalism and the white worship is why
Dennis, that's enough time. That's past a minute.
And that's also
Dennis, that's enough time.
If Africa's ever going to be fixed, it's going to take recolonization.
You
can't get it together. And I'm resting on that point.
But Dennis, that's enough time.
Go ahead, Tarka. Go ahead, Tarka.
Damn, this young fool, bro.
You're gonna die like Prince.
The problem with him is he don't know no history whatsoever, right? He hates immigrant, although he's an immigrant himself, right? But he hates immigrant.
Passport King's an immigrant,
right? Yes, he's an immigrant himself.
Really?
At any rate, it is hard for someone to even put out their 2 cents if they don't know what the hell they're talking about, and they're talking through hate, right? Nobody said African American did not contribute, right? Everybody contributed around the world, right? Including Asian countries. You see what I'm saying? Including Asian countries. This dude is an idiot. Every time he come on here, he always, oh, well, FBA did this and FBA did that and all kind of bullshit, right? I know more FBA history than his dumb ass.
Even the Irish,
You see what I'm saying?
The IRA, remember,
Right?
even the Irish through the IRA was supporting the ANC.
Right, exactly. I told him that Cuban came over there. He's like, what did Cuban do? To show you how much he does not know. Right? To show you how much he does not know. When Cubans send their bodies over there to fight and die. Cubans send people over there to fight and die. One of the first places Mandela visited was Cuba to thank them. What the hell is wrong with this dumb dude?
Excuse me, let me just add. They have Cubans in Namibia, I think Angola.
Yes, Namibia, Angola, all over the goddamn place. They didn't ask for a dime. Not a dime. Nelson Mandela said himself, Cubans went there, sacrificed their life, and they didn't ask for a dime. You see what I'm saying? So this dumb idiot, this fool, it's fools like this why black people cannot come together, because of fools like this. You see what I'm saying? Where was he when Marcus Garvey was here in the 20s? Huh?
He wasn't even
This stupid fool. You see what I'm saying? So you know, you maybe lost my goddamn thought. What I really wanted to goddamn say.
I was going to counteract.
No. It's Bang's turn. I gotta pass the mic to Bang.
Well, let me ask you a question, Dinus. Before you do that, let me ask you a question. You did it before. You had somebody from South Africa on a couple of years ago. Do you still have contact in South Africa? Because we need somebody to come in and explain.
I don't. I don't. They just click the link and call in. So I don't. I don't know.
Okay.
Come on.
I think he had a real estate lady on once, but that's beside the point.
To Neil. Okay, to Neil.
Yeah, you need to get in contact with someone. I'm sure you can. You're on the
I got
platform.
Neil's information still.
Yeah, and maybe she could also get somebody on with her to really talk about what's going on. We need to hear from them.
Wildflowers from South Africa, I think.
No, she's not. She's from the Horn of Africa. I think she's in the Ethiopia.
Oh, okay, my bad. My bad.
Yeah, let me pass the mic to Bang. Go ahead, Bang.
Yeah, how's everybody? Dennis, how you doing?
Good.
You mentioned that white South Africans are trying to go back to America, right? Leaving back to go back to South Africa, right? That's amazing for them. They figured out, what, America is too difficult for us, man. We don't get the privilege that we have in South Africa. We don't we're not the one in charge. We don't belittle, other white people. You understand, right? Even though white America controls white America, but there's a level to it and stuff like that. So then they do decide to go back to, South Africa, so then where it could be, where they could be the king again and stuff like that, right? I hear a bunch of, some of black people that come from Africa as well, right? They've been in Europe for like decades, 40 years. Some of them sound like it. Oh, close to 50 years. So what's stopping you as an African to go back to Africa, but then you want to wait until you retire until you go back to Africa. But then every time you come up here, you talk about how much you love Africa, how much so and so was supposed to be.
Who you talking about, Ken?
I'm just saying. I'm not calling names. I'm just saying. I'm
disappointed. I'm disappointed, Bang. Honestly.
No, hold on. This is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
If white South Africans can come to America, right, and after a couple of months, not even like a full year, they then decide to go back to South Africa. That just tells you how much power they have in South Africa. You understand me, right? Because then, if Donald Trump would have just picked out a couple of Africans and come to America, in a couple of months, they would never say, I'm fleeing back, I'm going to Africa. No. Unless they are politicians, just like how y'all was saying, politicians steals money. Politicians in Africa, they don't create jobs, they don't create factories and stuff like that. They just sit there and then get super wealthy and stuff like that, right? So these people that came to America, they weren't politicians. They were average white South Africans. It looks like it. So the average white South Africans. Hold on. The average white South African.
Hey guys, please, hey guys.
So powerful.
If you're come on this show, please super chat, man. You Africans so cheap sometimes, man. You'll give some money, please. You'll get this.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh yeah, with that being said, shout out to CD for the $10 Zelle. All right, go ahead, Bang.
You're welcome.
Thank you,
guys.
Thank you.
White South
to be cheap
Africans,
sometimes, please.
if the average white South Africans could come to America and say, guys, we got to go back over there. It's too sweet for us. If Donald Trump would have did the same thing with the average African, I guarantee you it would never happen. They would have stayed here for the next 100 years. They would have had kids and family and everything. And then at the same time they say, oh, look, I'm African, I'm this and that. Oh, African because of, we corrupt and this and that. But at the end of the day, right, if you love Africa, you say all these things. How come your physical presence is not there? Why? Until you retire. You get your 401k, whatever it is, in some other countries, right? And then you have your child over here, already settled down, already have kids, can't even speak your language, barely knows about your culture. But then you constantly come up here. Once again, it proves that white South Africans are so special in Africa, are so dominant, that even if when you bring them to a first world country, to America, they still want to go back to their country and say, you know what, nah, I don't want it. But the Africans, the average Africans, if you ever tell them to come up here, oh my God, nah. They say, yes, master.
That's because they're coming from different financial situations, my friend. What kind of stupid question is that?
Can I respond, man?
Listen. You prove my point again.
Hold on. Bang. You got a minute. I got to pass the anti-moralist. Go ahead, Bang.
Yeah. Lewis, you prove my point.
Let me answer him quickly.
No, I got to pass the mic to anti-moralist. Go ahead, Bang. You got a minute.
And at the end of the day, right? I'm from Sierra Leone. We don't judge our politicians by their religion.
Bro,
we don't
when you were last on here,
we don't do that. Let me get my time, Lewis. Hold on, let me get my time.
Lewis, you gotta let
him finish.
He's a hypocrite, bro.
Lewis, let him talk.
You see, we from Sierra Leone. We don't judge our politicians by a religion. You got Africans that come up here and constantly diss other people's religion as well when it favored them as well, and stuff like that.
Right.
But at the end of the day, right? If you love Africa, please be honest to yourself. Just because something favors you doesn't mean you can't see the truth. When Robert Lee died, right? Hold on. Hold on. When Robert Lee died, right? I guarantee we had probably like a black Americans. Sir, one of them cried because of that. Because you know why? It favored them. Robert Lee had connected them and stuff like that. So when Africans come up here and say, "Oh, they wouldn't be faithful," it's because of their family. Anytime you want to judge a real African, look at their family. Where did it connect to? That's the real loyalty to them. They don't care about like whatever country they come from. As long as it's favor them, as long as that politician steals billions and billions of money, they don't care. They will support and bring all type of fake lies up here. But white
Right.
South Africans, man, you guys are so special. Y'all can come to America and say, you know what? F America, man. Take me back to where I dominate these Africans, man. I'm ending like that.
You know what I mean? Listen, sometimes when you listen to some Africans speak, you ask yourself,
Go
where
ahead.
are they coming from? Where is their intellectual capacities coming from? You take one group of small people that came to America and decide to go back. Do you know how many Africans are going back? Do you know, listen, come on, now let me finish. Do you know it's the African diaspora that's supporting some of these economics in Africa? Eh? Do you know that? Do you know how many African diasporas are investing in Africa? So don't come here and just feel
That's not what I
ignorant.
said. That's not what I said.
I gotta pass the mic to anti-moralist. Go ahead, anti-moralist.
Okay, first of all, first of all, the first thing is that the person who said that America ended apartheid is just straight up lying. Okay, the issue with the African National Congress, the ANC, okay, their government was slowly being imposed with different sanctions for multiple African countries. African countries contributed the most. That doesn't mean Americans or African Americans didn't contribute. I think there's such an insecurity with these FBA types, and I specifically call them FBAs because these people don't live in the real world. They only live in the internet. They're always on the internet. They don't exist in the real world. They don't actually. You don't because I live in America and I've lived in Tanzania, of course, and I'm planning to go back to Tanzania, right? And I have family there, and I know the history of my country, and I know the history of a lot of African countries. And Tanzania, for example, they hosted the ANC's external headquarters during the fight against the apartheid. That's the first thing. Nigeria also did give the biggest significant financial backing. Zambia and Angola, like Zambia, when they fought against they got independence. During the time in Zimbabwe, I think they didn't allow them in the ANC. In South Africa at the time, they didn't allow them to build to basically export their goods. So Tanzania literally had to go to China and ask for their help. For them, Zambia and China, they built the Tazara Railway. So clearly, a lot of countries have supported to fight against this kind of systems. This idea that it's just African Americans who are the biggest contributors, again, it's an American exceptionalism they like to think of. And this is the problem with these FBA types. Now, another thing is that I would like to add is this simple thing. I actually agree with what Banks said. A lot of Africans don't want to go back, but again, I think it's too broad of a statement. But we have to look at what's the reason. For example, somebody fleeing civil war is not going to be the same person who comes from a stable country. I can only speak. I don't really know. One of the things I noticed, the people on the panel are usually from West Africa, so I really don't know the internal politics as much as I would like to, because again, the division there, I would wish that more Africans from the diaspora, maybe from East Africa, from Southern Africa are here. But I'm also noticing that a lot of the countries from West Africa have a lot more internal security issues. For example, with the terrorism that's happening in the Sahel, they're splitting to these other countries. So I can understand why they leave. That's why that when I look at this conversation, oftentimes it's just basically West African issues that are being highlighted here more than anything. Like I come from Tanzania again. Most of our Tanzania, one of the things that Tanzania has done, which again, you can criticize it, but it has made Tanzania more stable. One, we don't have a true democracy. And I'm actually kind of great. I'm actually okay with the fact that we don't have a true democracy, because oftentimes these problems happen because these democratic systems are not supported by strong institutions. Most Tanzanian diaspora, we're about like 0.5% of Tanzanian diasporas living in the United Kingdom, United States, all that. When you compare to Nigeria, Ghana, and other countries, for example, we are very, very low. And why? Simple. You don't dual citizenship. We don't have dual citizenship. You are Tanzanian citizens or you're not. As simple as that. That might change in the future. Don't know if it will, but that's one of the reasons. This also, migration hasn't been domestic stability has been another thing. Language has been another thing. And the fact that most Tanzanians actually find work in their trade, service, and agriculture, for example. And this brings me to my further point. It's like me and my brother, we both studied engineering, STEM. I'm in electrical and computer engineering, focused in data science and artificial intelligence. My brother's working in architectural and construction engineering. Okay, so both of us have experience working and in these fields. And our dad was a civil engineer. He had a choice to decide, you know what, I could have my children be born in the UK or the United States, for example. But because of the Tanzanian citizenship thing, where you can't have dual citizenship, he wanted his kids to basically have dual citizenship. So he decided.
I don't believe that, sir. I don't believe that. That's not true.
Well, you're saying that Tanzania doesn't have dual citizenship? Is that what you're saying? It's not true?
Yeah, because there was guys that were playing for Tanzania in African Cup of Nations. Let me finish. I just want to question you.
Dual citizenship first. I'm
I
saying
just want to question you.
Okay, ask a question.
There was guys that were playing in African Cup of Nations in Morocco, and they were in England. They were having English citizenship and also Tanzanian citizenship. So there's no way that FIFA or CAF will let them play if they don't have Tanzanian citizenship.
Okay, so you're using.
I just want to clarify that. How can they play for Tanzania and they were both British and Tanzanian citizen? That's not possible. And they were playing for your national team in Morocco. So I want you to fact check that because we had a similar issue. Okay. I just want you to check that. I'm not saying
let me know when you're done.
It's not true, but FIFA, the rules for FIFA, because that's why Congo was going to get into trouble. They wanted to disqualify them because there was a guy that was playing for Congo, and they kicked out Nigeria from the World Cup, and they wanted to disqualify them because they don't allow dual citizenship.
So you're using
so if someone is a British citizen at the same time playing for Tanzania,
let me respond.
Yeah,
I'm saying if you're gonna use a football organization as well, this football organization is the reason why Tanzania has to have dual citizenship. Maybe look at the constitution. Just because there's some, I know, Tanzania.
But FIFA will not allow that.
Let me finish.
FIFA would not accept that. You have to have Tanzanian citizenship. It doesn't
necessarily mean that they do have dual citizenship. There are people out there that have Tanzanian citizenship and maybe Canadian citizenship. I'm not saying that doesn't exist. I'm saying constitutionally, the government, you either born in Tanzania and you have Tanzanian citizenship. It's as simple as that. That doesn't mean people that don't have other citizenship. Is that if you're caught, then it is illegal.
No, yes, because the reason I'm saying this, my country had a similar rule.
My issue is this: is that is it illegal in your country? Because in Tanzania it is illegal. You can't have dual citizenship. That's my point.
Well, so but if that's what I'm saying. I'm challenging you based on the rule of CAF and FIFA. If you don't have a dual citizenship,
institutional.
Let me finish my question.
But gentlemen, should we be stuck on dual citizenship? Shouldn't we be the bigger issues and the more important issues? Because that's tangent.
You're right. You're right.
No, but that's important. We want to clarify something. If you say that Tanzania don't have a dual citizenship,
we
don't.
That's the issue. CD.
You can just look it up.
CD, can I clarify it for you?
Yeah.
Can I make a submission?
I'll back the Tanzanian guy up. Can I just clarify?
Clarify.
I have a friend that a girlfriend, not my girlfriend, but a friend that's married to a Tanzanian, and she lived in Tanzania. She didn't get her Tanzanian citizenship because she wanted to keep her American citizenship. Because the brother is right. They don't. You either take one or the other. All right.
So
that's what she did.
Okay, with that being said,
I'm not saying what he's saying is not right, but I'm saying that FIFA, if you are not a Tanzanian citizen and you were born in Britain, you have to let your British citizenship to be a Tanzanian. But it's not possible for you to play for Tanzania in the African Cup of Nations if you are not a Tanzanian citizen. And these guys were British. They were born in
Maybe
Britain.
They broke the rule for that. Maybe they broke the rule for the professional.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I just wanted to clarify. I'm not saying what he's saying is wrong.
New speaker in the room. New
speaker in the
room. May I speak, please? New speaker in the room. New speaker in the room. All right. So here's the question I have. Julius Nyerere left a legacy.
No, but let him finish, Shah, before you can comment.
Yeah, but you guys interject. Everybody want to talk about citizenship. Okay.
No, I wasn't, but I just want to hear Morris.
Okay, well, all right, I'll let him land, and then I'm going to say my
I know I'm asking a question, so I'll keep it quickly. My problem with these conversations, it's not that we don't have problems, but at least I would like more often than not is that is there at least some solutions that other African countries have done? Because here's the thing, I'll say straight up, Tanzania has made a lot of mistakes. One of the things that dual citizenship, I actually understand why they don't do it, but that doesn't mean it's a good thing. Because oftentimes, like somebody here mentioned, the diaspora brings more investment. But because Tanzania doesn't do it that way, that investment hasn't happened as often. But it's also allowed them to be more reliable. One of the things they did is they actually started working with middle nations. These are nations that are not like America or US or Russia. These are like Malaysia, Indonesia, Turkey, those nations that have advancement. For example, recently a Malaysian company, an Egyptian company started making transformers, and that's actually helping Tanzanians get skills, for
Yeah,
example.
and
Now,
that's my question. That's
okay,
perfect segue into what I want to ask about
ask,
it is
ask a question.
since Julius Nyerere since the 60s, right,
Mhm.
set the foundation for you young brother who's in STEM, who's in science,
Mhm.
to be able to build the railroads yourself. Y'all should be building your railroads. Y'all should be building transformers.
We are.
Why isn't, wait a minute, let me
Sorry, go on.
finish.
My apologies. Go on. Go on.
The transfer of knowledge from wherever, from the Western world or Asia, whatever, the Chinese got it now. They didn't have it at, they didn't have it at first. They
Yeah.
have it. Why isn't East Africa, who's ahead in a lot of ways of other places, aren't able to build their own railroads? Why aren't they
Yeah.
able to build, to build their own transformers? When the transfer of knowledge is what I'm saying should be a partnership between the universities and the private sector. You bring people over from other countries and let the universities be the hub for where that transfer should have taken place a long time ago. Boom, that's one thing. The other thing too I find about East
Can I
and
answer that
South
first question?
Africa.
Sorry, can I answer the first question
Yeah,
first?
go ahead.
So that first question, good question. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Those things do take time. The problem, no, wait, let me finish. The thing is that I agree with that. But when you, for example, the Turkish company in the contract had to actually hire Tanzanian engineers in certain positions. The Egyptian company had to build a factory. The Malaysian company had to build a railway, not a railway, but it's specifically like a construction, a train head construction, train engine construction company. They actually had to build it there, and it's hiring Tanzanian engineers. That's my point. The thing is that those people are oftentimes gonna be around my age. I'm about 28, and let's say the oldest is probably gonna be 40 at most. So those people exist, but also capital is another factor. Okay, a lot of the times that capital has to come outside, so that's the limitation, and that's why they're actually trying to do that. They're trying to revise the citizenship law, but also the citizenship law is tied to land. And one of the things Tanzania has been quite very cautious and maybe even scared is that they looked at other countries that other people come here and they come here and buy land, and that land is basically like used for certain development. So in Tanzania, you have to buy residential land, and if you want to invest, you actually have to go to the TIC, the investment center, and those investment center can actually allow a certain amount of land if you want to, let's say, do manufacturing, all these other stuff. But that's unfortunately requires capital, which is one of the limitations. But that also will change because right now there are a lot of Tanzanian startups that are actually starting. For example, one person went to Stanford, who came back to Tanzania and started a fintech company called Nala to send money to Tanzania. That's one example. I'm not saying that you're saying is wrong. I don't want you to forget your other point, but what I'm saying is that unfortunately will take time. So we can only judge it in the next 10 to 20 years, and most likely that's not change. But go on, brother.
I can understand capital. I can understand that. But what I can understand, what I can understand is that the knowledge, the transfer, we're not, I'm not even talking about AI. I'm not talking about the chip factory in Kenya. I mean, this is more recent technology. I'm talking about to be able to build railroads, to be able to build bridges. Those kinds of things should have happened by now with people that are my age. I'm 63. People my age should have been having that knowledge to give to you guys. You guys should be doing that by now. So that's one thing. The other thing too is, let me finish. So the other thing is that you have to be able to protect what you build. This is the SADC and the EAC, right? You got your regional. Okay, so let me clarify that these regional bodies that you have, SADC and East African communities and there's one for Central Africa, that they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing because they've been captured by the Europeans who are running the show. They have captured, like they have done ECOWAS. They have done that with these other regional boards. And I'm saying that especially a place like Tanzania, who had a revolutionary like Julius Nyerere, and then you have the ANC that when the ANC came in, they could have changed the whole game and brought that type of energies. I'm not criticizing and saying why
No, it's
hasn't it
okay to
been done per
criticize.
se, but I'm
It's okay
saying
for
that that's the conversation of where, like, when is this? What's the jump? What's the bridge point where this is supposed to be happening? Because right now we're in a situation, and I'm gonna land here, where these Europeans, when they finish with Cuba and they finish with the Middle East, they're gonna refocus back on Africa, and they're gonna
Yes, you are
continue to
100%
do
right.
what they're doing.
Wait,
Like,
let him finish, and I have to respond. Go on.
they're going to continue. They're going to step up the pace and do what we know that they're doing, and we've been talking about that in this space, in these spaces with
They ain't gonna
Dynasty.
do none of that. They ain't gonna. Their time is up. They ain't gonna be doing none of that, brother.
Okay, okay, all right.
Not
Well, I
gonna
land
do
right there.
And then
Okay,
the brother is right. He's
let
definitely right because
me ask
why?
the question first. Let me ask the question.
If we have an engineer, people that went to school, have indeed engineering, and you go to Tanzania, you only see Chinese doing construction, or you go to Nairobi, you only see Chinese doing it. Those in
Can I answer
Kenyan
that question
engineer,
also?
none of them
Can I at least
on
answer that
site.
question
You
first?
wonder
Yeah, let him
why
land. Let him
What are
land.
the
this is why we
universities
get all this
doing?
knowledge.
What is the
Are you
universities
gonna let
doing?
me answer the question, or like I'm just confused here?
No, but there's no answer for it. It's
No,
not only in
what do
Tanzania.
you mean there's no
What the
answer for
brother
it?
saying is true.
What's
It's just, that's the reality. If you do engineering, you should be doing road construction. But if you go to East Africa, I don't see no black person constructing this road. Yeah, the liberals are black, but no engineers are black.
Yo,
And
yes,
that's the
come on,
fact.
CB. You know they must have some. Come on now.
Sibi, you are 100% right because
You know they
what's
must have
happening
some.
not just
Come
there,
on.
not just in East Africa. If
Yeah.
that's why I was saying that our politicians are so much interested in stealing, because when they take these contracts, instead of them to resource an African company or African people with the knowledge or the technical know-how to do it, they will go outside, because when they sign those contracts, they'll be getting about 30-20% of the money. That is what
Even right now in Ivory Coast, they have this subway system that they're building. So first it was the South Koreans that had a contract, right? So the French people came, well, we colonized you guys. This is a very big symbol of construction. We want to do the contract ourselves. So they took it from the South Koreans and gave it to the
Right.
French people to construct a subway system from the interior part of Abidjan all the way to Plateau. So they're building the subway system right now. They took it from the South Korean. But could you imagine South Korea took independence in the same time with
Why are
Ghana?
we doing that? That's
You
my
know?
thing is we should be
Hello,
set
brother.
up to do that. We should be
Yeah, that's
doing
what I'm
that.
saying. You're right, brother. You're
What
definitely
is
right.
wrong? What's going on?
Hello.
That's the
But I'm
fact.
asking you a question.
Have you
Why
guys
aren't there
forgotten
those
the
black
arrangement?
South
Hang on a
African
minute.
companies? The
Right,
reason
right.
is
Have you?
because are you? Listen. You don't actually want to
Can I
answer.
get a
What
word
I'm
in here?
saying, somebody asked me a question. I didn't have to answer a question yet.
Well, hurry up. Bloody clogging the whole lineup.
The person who asked the question specifically, why aren't the companies like in East Africa, for example? One is that the EAC block. One is
Hey, guys, let me pass the mic to M and then the Shaw, because they've been waiting. Go ahead, M.
Oh no, I already spoke, and the
Oh, you
science
did?
guy
Okay,
is
my bad. Okay,
yeah.
go ahead.
The science guy is
Well,
responding because he knows the science. He's a science guy. Go ahead, science guy.
All right, thank you. I want to validate what the guy said earlier. Cuba did send, I think, 500,000 soldiers to Angola to help in the South side.
500,000.
It's about, they say about 300,000 to 500,000. But they fought in Angola, and that did help.
I don't know. They sent that many soldiers.
That's what the fact check said. But they were fighting in South Africa. They was fighting against the South African government.
They
but
sent
at the same time,
300,000 soldiers.
Since it was within 2 decades, since the 70s to the early 90s. That's what they say. The so-called fact check says. So it's true, but you still can't negate the fact that America also contributed as well as other people contributed. You know.
You're right.
But as far as Yeah, because America was purchasing iron like in Illinois and Chicago. We forced Illinois to stop purchasing iron from South Africa, but it was a global collaborative, whatever. It was a global assistant struggle. But I was going to talk about why white South Africans are leaving America to go back. I think.
Sorry, 300,000. 300,000. Sorry, Dennis.
Yeah, about 300,000. Yeah, but I think just like during World War II, the black soldiers that was fighting against the Nazi Germany that was stationed in London, there was no segregation. So the white soldiers wanted England to impose segregation because they were so used to us being like second-class citizens in America, but England wouldn't do it. So I think it's probably the same type of situation. The South Africans are probably used to a certain type of treatment and seeing black people in a certain type of way. But in America, you could say black Americans, another thing we should get credit for, we have made a way in which Africans can come here and get equality and flourish and don't have to be second-class citizens. And I think the white South Africans don't like that. And also, there's really no privilege for them because they immigrants. And it's not like they're the number one white person here. So I think they'd rather be in South Africa and continue being like the first-class citizen and looking at black people in subservient positions, But that's all I really want to say.
Yeah, that's true, brother. That makes sense, definitely.
Hey, M, let me ask something, M.
What's up?
Let me make a suggestion because you said why aren't the African companies or individuals contributing or making their own? So what don't we do this?
What did I say that?
Is it M? Who said that?
Oh, I said that. Why aren't they building their own railroads and building their own
Right, and doing
transformers
like that. So this is
I
suggestion I'm going to
trying to
make.
answer that, but apparently.
So this is a suggestion I'm going to make. Why don't you? Because I did some research, right, already, and Dennis know. Why don't you or anybody else on the panel do some research and the indigenous companies? Who are the indigenous companies? Gather some facts about the indigenous companies that's actually building certain things within Africa, whether it's big or small, right? Because people like to say people are not doing nothing at all. You see what I'm saying? My thing is, what is nothing? What does nothing means, right? So let's see which company. I have a bunch myself, right? Which I sent to Dynas already in the past. Right. So what indigenous company is doing actually what on the continent?
I can do that.
Here's an example.
I can do that challenge. And then there's a brother. Your mic is off, but there's a brother that I know that was building. He had a little company. He was building roads. He's roughing it in New York, and he's got a little company, and he's living in New York because it's cheaper for him. In Nigeria, and he's a civil engineer, and they were getting contracts to do stuff. But what ended up happening is the country was paying him small amounts, and he had his little staff, and they would have to disband and go do stuff, and then he'll get a tranche of money or whatever, draw of his money, and then it was crazy, and they just strung him out over years of paying him money for stuff that he had done. That was Nigeria.
So that was one company. So
I can help.
there's other extremely large company that's actually on the ground building roads, building railroads, and so forth and so on. The actual company, and I could get the names and everything for you.
Just answer you, give you a little understanding what happens over there.
Put my email
You
in
see,
the back
when it
channel.
comes to building all these big projects, you have the Chinese, the Europeans, or sometimes the Asians, or even Middle Eastern companies. Those big companies, when they come in with enormous financial backing. Just like one of the panelists was saying that there was somebody that he knew was building a road, and the government was stringing them along and not paying them in time, or maybe not paying them enough, or whatever it is. They come in with huge financial backing. They have banks over there. They could give them, sometimes even the government, like the Chinese government, can give an interest-free loan, to come in and take on this big project and they come in, not only often, I mean, now it's changing a little bit, but before when they come in, they're not just coming in with the finance and the company to build the railroad. They come in with the expertise, the managers, and all they do is they just employ the Africans to do the manual labor and stuff like that. And so the money that they come in, say they come in with them, say about $1 million, about 800 million will go back to them, and maybe about 10, 20, 200 million or something will stay in the country that they're building it for paying the staff and maybe buying a few materials here and there. But in the end, the government is still going to pay them that huge amount of loan that they came in with. You see, that was what's happening. So the government needs to resource our local companies, and they are not doing that.
Well, are there any companies in Ghana? Do you know of any?
Many. I know one or two.
They must have some, right?
Wait, by one or two.
Let me say this, right? Let me say this.
Building there's a huge road building.
Right?
Well, let the brother that never did answer the question. He wanted the science brother, never did get a chance to finish.
Let me say this real quick.
Wait,
just
was
give
it
me 30
me?
seconds.
Oh.
Just give me 30 seconds.
30 seconds, go on.
Yeah, just 30 seconds, right? You know, the Ghanaian government, right, just gave visa free to South Korea. Visa free, right? You have so many other countries in Africa.
That's not true.
That's
not true.
That is so different. Oh my God.
They're discussing it. They're discussing it. It's a proposal.
Let me finish.
It's not confirmed,
There's so many.
my friend.
Louis,
man, I'm not
30
getting
seconds, man.
Just let him use the 30 seconds.
Louis, 30 seconds, man. You can't wait for 30 seconds, my brother.
No, because I haven't made my point since we last spoke. Everybody cutting me
I haven't
out.
spoke for like 30 minutes. You said something. You said something. Okay, just 30 seconds, man. You're not gonna die, Louis.
I probably won't be able to answer the question.
Yeah, just 30 seconds. At the end of the day, right? There's so many other countries in Africa, right, that would love to get an opportunity and bring their business mindset in Ghana. But it looked like some Ghanaians, they don't want it. They want some Europeans or some Asians to come in.
You are very
it's true. It is your government. It is your people, your Ashantis, the Akans. It is your people. Your people want foreigners to come in Ghana. Your people don't want Africans to come in Ghana. Your people don't want Africans to come in Ghana. That is facts. That is facts.
Ghana is preparing. Hold on. It's
I can't. Okay, guys, Bang has 30 seconds.
Please.
Don't interrupt him. Go ahead, Bang. Got 30 seconds. I'm
y'all gonna come up here and tell me that.
After Bang, you got 30 seconds to respond. I got past the anti-moralist. Go ahead, Bang.
Y'all come up here telling us all these sweet things.
Bang. You got 30. Bang. You got 30 seconds. Don't be lectured.
Yeah, my bad. South Korea and Ghana has free visa and stuff like that. What about those excellent business mindset in Africans, right? They come from different countries. They can't even come and get the same opportunity. But the Ghanaians elite, they want foreigners that come from Asia. They want foreigners that come from Asia.
All right, Bang, you got to start over. You got 30 seconds.
Yeah, the Ghanaians elite, the Ghanaians so-called, Black Star, they want foreigners that come from Asia, and then these are the same people coming up here talking about, an African, we are unified. Man, you guys are phonies, man. You guys are phony. You guys are phony, man. I'm ending right there.
All right, go ahead, Louis.
Right.
Louis, we got 30 seconds. I'll pass it out to Morris. Go ahead.
Okay. If you lie with dogs, you catch fleas. The South Koreans know how to build ship, and we're signing agreements with them for them to build ships. Do you understand, Ben? That means you need manganese to turn it from aluminium to steel. We've got that in abundance.
Where's Ghana engineer?
Man, don't interrupt them.
Right? We've had established universities before many of our nations did. Okay? You need capital, and you don't just need academic achievement. You need practical, on-the-ground experience like what Delroy has. The South Koreans make your TVs, your bloody radios, your computers, and they make ships. And we want to partner with them to build ships. Any of you Negroes know how to build ships? Good, I thought so. So shut up, Ben. You're a fool.
That wasn't it, Louis. Don't twist it. Louis, don't twist it. I'm too smart for that, Louis. I am too smart for that, Louis, man. Don't twist it. It was visa free. It was visa free. Visa free. It wasn't.
All right,
Lewis,
bang,
Lewis,
bang, 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 bang. Don't interrupt him. Lewis, you got 30 seconds.
As I said, when you lie with dogs, you catch fleas. They know how to manufacture. We want to manufacture and industrialize. You Negroes next door don't know how to do that. So get lost.
All right, let me pass the mic to Antamorlis. Go ahead.
Okay.
Somebody's playing with their mic. Stop playing with their mic, Paul. Go ahead, Antamorlis.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I'd like to confirm first. There was the South Koreans do know how to build ships. That's the first thing, because they during I think around 2020 under President Magufuli. They built a ship specifically in the Mwanza region, in the Lake Victoria area, where basically that was a South Korean company, and they worked with the Tanzanian government. I think, for example,
you didn't answer the question. You didn't answer the question.
Can you actually? Okay, because I was cut off. Repeat your question. Just repeat your question quickly so I can answer it.
When are Africans going to learn to build their own ships or their own TVs or their own railroads? What's the problem?
Exactly. And we have a lot of engineers. We have 100
Okay, let me answer
Let
me answer now.
You need experience, silly.
Let him answer. He's not. That's not for you. Go ahead, Antamorlis.
So okay, when are they going to do that? If you are willing to wait at least 30 years, then that's when they're going to be able to do it at that scale. Because part of the problem is that you want a quick solution. So those are not going to happen. You need.
But we took independent before South Korea. They built all this stuff.
This is why you can't progress. That's the problem. Is that you want things to be quick. First of all, there are African engineers, but you know what the reason why South Koreans can build faster is because their government made a program that say, okay, we're going to give a certain percentage of these companies who are from South Korea to build. That's the one thing that a lot of African countries didn't do right. That's the first thing. Okay. Now, those companies, they had to first learn to build ports. They had to first start actually with rail, and then roads, then went to rail, and then went to ports, and then eventually they started getting international contracts. That's why you see only 3 countries, South Korea, China, and Japan, are the ones who are building 90% of the ships. To be able to do that, you have to first master manufacturing, and you have to also master industrial supply lines. That's more than just actually building, for example, refining minerals. For example, is that you need actual electricity. For example, those electricity, you need a certain amount of electricity to process that minerals. A lot of African countries, their grid cannot handle that amount of industrial processing. We in Tanzania just finished building Julius Nyerere Dam. It actually more than doubled our electrical supply line, but that's still not enough. You first need to build that. We're building the SGR railway. We of course need a Turkish company because they already have the industrial, manufacturing, and supply chain. You cannot just break supply chains. You need to know supply engineering. One of the things I will say, if you want a solution, for example,
but we took the independent during the same time South Korea.
This is why you are not an engineer, because you just complain. Okay, because when it comes to engineering, it's more than just independence. It's actually first, do you know how many people who actually know the things that they're doing, and can you find them and put them in one area? A lot of companies, when it comes to that, if I would say the solution for a lot of African countries is to build a state engineering capacity that focuses on specific things. Then you cannot focus on everything because you will lose.
But wasn't Nigeria in a position they were the one?
I can't speak for Nigeria because the one
I do know. I know that in the 70s they were poised to be in that position.
I'll let you finish. Okay, let you finish. The other thing are these companies. One, are they tied to a political party, or are they independent? And are they companies or ministries? Those are not the same thing. A ministry, for example, we have in Tanzania Stan Roads, but we don't have a company specifically focused on engineering. Those companies that are going to focus on engineering are going to need to hire engineers, and they cannot be political. First, the problem, when you make them political, you can easily destroy them and cut their funding. But when it's a company and a state company, that means their purpose is to find a solution to the engineering problem. That's the one thing I'm noticing that the Tanzanian government is trying to do. They're not doing it efficiently, but they're trying to do. And also, the reason we have an advantage in Tanzania, I'll say, is because we're not a democracy. We are mostly ruled by one party. And I'm just going to be honest about that. I don't really care, but because at the end of the day, under Magufuli, he was able to bring a lot of progress, and after he died,
I think that's just an excuse. In China, they have one party system, and they still function in China. So I don't think if you get a political structure of the system,
what do you think my point was? You think I disagreed with that or something? I'm thinking you just trying to respond actually more than anything. I'm saying the advantage we have is that we're not really a democracy. We are mostly a one-party state. That's the thing with Tanzania. That means there's no fighting for power.
But when you compare Tanzania with Kenya, Kenya is far ahead of Tanzania.
But
There's
also
no
Kenya is
comparison. No
yes, you're right. And
comparison
also Kenya is focusing more
in
on
terms of
services, for example.
development.
But Kenya's bringing Chinese to build in infrastructure too, though.
No, but he's saying because of I'm just
no, that's
trying
not
to
what I'm saying.
clarify
That's
that
saying
he's
one
saying
of
that
the
because of the
advantages.
one-party
That's the thing.
system,
You can't
that's
listen.
why
We're
they're
trying to
developing.
complain.
So
If it
that's
is a
not
one-party
really.
system, they're not into the same
So it's
level
not
of
that.
right.
That's not the reason why the transfer of knowledge that we were poised in different places like Nigeria and like Kenya probably and South Africa as well to be able to take the next level, which you have to have energy, and then you have the
And
practical
engineering
parts.
capacity, you have to have engineering capacity. That means
Right.
more than just
And
engineers.
that's
You actually have to put engineers in
there.
those areas.
But what I'm saying
No,
though, brother, is the practical part of
One
that
mic,
is
brothers.
available. What the
And that
problem is
The problem
that
is it's not the
is that
organization.
the Europeans won't allow it, don't want it to happen, and that's what happened
I'm
with
not disagreeing with that,
Ajakuta
but
not
I'm
being
telling you
finished.
a nuanced
and
answer.
that's a fact. That's the
Specifically, I'm
truth.
telling
That's the
you.
That's
truth.
I'm not
part of it.
saying
And the other
that.
Yeah,
part of it is the
that's
I'm
true.
corrupt
not saying
the corrupt
Yeah.
yes,
leadership
there are
that are
corrupt
taking
leadership, but
kickbacks and doing all the corrupt shit. So because they get money for giving contracts to these outside people
That's
instead of
true.
Right.
That's a
developing your
fact.
own shit and
Yep.
working with your
Yeah, I mean,
universities, bringing the
And
practical
mean,
knowledge
that's the
in.
What
fact.
about
if I'm,
And this is what
I mean,
African.
guys,
This
if
is the
I may,
problem with African. When you try to
what about
tell
the
them the
Africans
truth,
that
they
have
say,
been
"Oh yeah,
been
against their
overseas for
country."
over 60
This
years
is the
now?
truth. This is what the brother is saying. Is the reality. Is the truth. African don't just
yeah,
don't want to hear the truth. When you talk, "Oh yeah, against my country," "Oh my God, he hit my country." This is the truth. He's telling you the truth, and you still saying it because of one party system in Tanzania. Is
I'm not.
Tanzania is no
yeah,
One
compared to
party system has nothing to
other
do
East
with that.
if,
African?
I
yeah,
didn't say it's
if I
only
may,
because of one party system.
moralist,
I say that's one of the advantages
moralist,
that allows something
if
like
I
a
may,
that, for example,
if I
takes
may,
one presidency to actually go to the next presidency, so it's not going to be disrupted because these projects take time and one they take a lot of money. For example, we build a BRT system. The Kenyans they wanted to do the same thing. They weren't able to accomplish theirs because there's a lot of bureaucracy. Tanzania was
That's
able to do
not
it.
true, sir. That's not an
BRT, do you know what a
excuse.
BRT
You
is?
will not say
You know what a
one
BRT
party
is? Look it
system
up.
will make
yeah,
country develop.
That's
That's
a
not
I
true.
mean,
That
that's
makes
a
no
great
sense.
that's an advantage.
one
Look at
second,
the nuclear
guys. What
program in South Africa. Look at
I'm saying,
Ajakuta Steel Company in Nigeria.
okay,
Ajakuta is a
1
perfect
second,
example.
sharp,
The whole thing is built, 90% built, finished, and it never
guys.
goes online. Never. And why?
Yes,
Now I know
absolutely,
brother,
I know
absolutely,
BRT
why.
system
absolutely.
is working currently in
But
Tanzania.
guess what? To
Our
this
Can
railway,
day,
I,
our railway
Nigeria
system
is
has already
importing
been built from
steel.
Dar es
There's
Salaam
almost $1 billion
to
worth of
Morogoro.
steel.
They've been building
can
till
I,
there, and they're still continuing this SGR system because they want to connect with countries like Rwanda, Burundi, and DRC. So yes,
moralist,
I'm
you're
not
right
saying.
in some type of way.
I'm
1
saying. I'm
second,
not saying.
moralist.
Let me just make my
You're
final
kind of
point
right.
here. Let me just
Okay.
make my
And
final
Nkrumah
point
had
here.
a
It's
nuclear
not
project
because
too
of
back in the 60s. Nkrumah had a
You're both
nuclear project that
anyway,
if they
right.
the
had,
point is
if
this:
he had
it's
stayed in
because
office, he
of
would have been
one.
able to do that.
Even the
It's
lady that
because
is
of
in
one leader.
Tanzania right now,
So
he killing thousands of Tanzania in the street of Tanzania, staying in power, pretending to be a good Muslim. She got bad record. She's one of the worst president ever Tanzania ever had.
You're right. Anyways,
I
and my
mean, you
point is
guys
this:
are
Worst
all over the
person
place.
ever.
You
political
got some of you
discontinuity
are right,
does
some
not
of you are right, wrong.
no.
But
Let me just
let's
make my final point, and then because you
okay,
don't want me to finish. I'm saying it's
okay.
not because we only a one-party system that is the advantage. I'm saying political discontinuity when one
Political
party.
stability.
No,
yeah.
not instability, discontinuity, meaning
Nope.
not.
Well,
Let me
well,
just finish. Let me make my point. Political discontinuity means if you have one political party or one political structure that comes in there, they can discontinue what the other one was doing
Right.
because they can say, hey, it's costing too much money, whatever reason. Because we are one
mm,
party, that doesn't tend to happen. That's not saying one party is the solution. That's saying
Right.
that's an advantage. That doesn't mean there's coming with disadvantages. Like, this is what I'm saying. Do you want to complain? Because I'm telling you the nuance, but nuance it doesn't get when people keep interrupting. Anyway, go make your point.
You
yeah,
have a
you're both
point. You
right.
got a point.
Yeah, you both. But that's what I'm saying. I'm not disagreeing with you. I said it's political stability because you don't have, two parties that are
I
gonna
agree.
come and change policies. But I agree with that. And I mean, one thing,
I want to make
you
sure
guys.
I'm not saying that's what we need. I want to make because
Okay.
somebody listens to that and hears that. I'm saying
Yeah.
that is an
Yeah.
advantage, one advantage out of
Yeah.
many other advantages we can look
Yeah,
at.
and
Okay?
also you're
And
right.
then,
You're right in
yes,
terms of bureaucracy. In engineering, we both know when there's a lot of bureaucracy in engineering is a problem. Okay, and that's
and
one
another
point
thing
you
in
make.
engineering, you want to make it
A
simple. You want to make
benevolent
it more.
dictator is an advantage too.
You're right.
Yeah,
Listen, I'm not.
yeah.
It's
I
not
know.
gonna lie.
I wouldn't say I would.
It-
It wouldn't necessarily that. 1 second. I'll let you speak. Okay.
Sorry, go on.
I think
Go on.
that's right. When you're on about what the answer to your question is, is to industrialize the country. It needed law. Shah, you mentioned the steel plants. That's one of the factors. The supply chain is another factor. There are different factors
And energy
in the engineer. Yeah,
Right, but the
exactly.
steel
Because
plant it wasn't the supply factor for the steel plant. It wasn't that they were at a problem with providing iron ore from parts of Nigeria through a railroad
yeah,
system, although that was something that needed to be, fully,
uh,
done. But it wasn't even
mm,
that. It was the fact that they had built the thing, done it, and
mm.
now what happened, man? I done heard this. Finally, I got the
Okay,
full
okay,
story
okay,
of why that didn't
okay.
happen. But when you
I
have
Okay,
the
don't
if I
know
thing
why
may,
it
built,
didn't happen
if
in
I may
Nigeria or
continue,
West
Shah,
Africa. That's
please.
why I don't speak
Thank
on it
you.
much. I just want to
Yeah,
make
yeah,
I
thank you.
don't
Yeah,
know
it's West
anything.
Africa. Yeah, it's Nigeria. But anyway, let's not get into. So yeah, you need those things. There are different things that you need.
Hey, guy, I got. Let me pass the mic to Hello because he's been waiting. And we got to close out. Go ahead, Hello. Mute yourself.
Just
No
one minute.
problem.
It's
Okay.
getting interesting.
Hi, Dynast. Hi,
Hello.
everyone. Hi. I just want to chip in into this discussion regarding local Africans being able to support in building their infrastructures. There are many challenges that these African youths face. They are highly talented. You would ask yourself, why is it that most of these our youths, when they travel abroad, they are quite productive, highly sought out in whichever department they decide to work in. But once they're in Africa, it's like they're being chained, locked up, and forgotten. Many challenges they're facing, um, most times, is beyond one African youth's capacity. Even when they gather, the might of the political powers and their wills will shatter them and don't give them any hope. And that's why most of them are running out of Africa, because they can tell and they can see that there is no future for them there. The structures required for these Africans to practice their hard-earned skills to better their countries are minimal, like lack of finance and capital for institutions to risk reverse priority collateral based lending, which young entrepreneurs lack. Things like structural barriers and lack of support from the government, the policies they make frequently fail these youths to become great entrepreneurs in Africa. They can't even with that have good networks. If they don't have the funding, the support of the government, how are they going to form a company and be able to employ other youths with similar skills to come and uplift their countries? There are things like skills that are mismatched. The education system do not meet the demands of the youth to teach them quality education to do these works. It's actually highly difficult for young people to do what you guys are talking about here, including political exclusions, all the laws and things the rich and the corrupt
And
politicians.
Africa is not one country; it's a continent. So that's on another issue.
Yes,
What will work
all
in
of
one
them,
country won't work in always in
all
another.
of
You
them,
have to also be honest.
all of them,
That's the first problem is that we have to talk about
all of them,
blocks specifically.
and
Like
then
West
all of
Africa
finally,
is gonna
them,
be different than
Well, let,
West Africa.
let
all
her
of them,
let her finish. Go ahead.
all of them. Tell me one African country that the youths are filling these spaces and the shoes of these contracts given to foreigners because
Senegal is one of them. Senegal
no,
is
no,
actually
no,
really good at
no, I don't believe
local
that. It's
companies.
not true. Yeah,
So
just
you're
bring the
asking, but you don't
proof.
believe it. Okay, then you can look it
Bring
up.
the proof. Bring the proof. Otherwise, we'll
Yeah,
be discussing this here.
the road construction in Sierra Leone,
No,
Dennis
no,
might
no,
tell you
no,
that
no.
It's
most of
not
the
just
roads
the
South Africa,
roads,
South
are
Africa,
brother.
Senegalese
South Africa,
It's
it's
not
South
just
and
the
Africa.
Senegal
Just
roads.
like the title says.
and Senegal.
Why
No,
South
no, no.
Africans are going back to why South Africans are going back to Africa in less than 1 year?
All right, go, all right,
What
go, all
typical
right,
African you could
go
pick?
ahead, go ahead, Hello, go
Bang,
ahead, Hello.
Bang is right in this.
Okay,
I
okay,
support
I
his
got what you
point of
mean.
view. Yeah, because we have the problem with African youth is that some of us we do not accept our limitations. It's not like someone is poking at any particular country, trying to destroy it or poking holes that your country is not doing well. But in general, if we are doing well, our economies and the way Africa, why is it that most of these people are everywhere in Africa, taking over Africa, in cahoots with our political elites, because they are being empowered because of the way they look, where they come from, and our youths are not supported. You
Are you
can't
an
tell me
engineer?
that.
May I
You
ask?
She's right.
cannot.
She's
One
right.
minute. You
She's right.
cannot
She's
I'm
tell
not
definitely
me.
disagreeing.
right.
I just want to know if,
You
like,
cannot.
are
You
you an
cannot
engineer?
tell
I'm
me.
just asking questions.
You want to ask me a question?
Yeah, like, do you work in engineering, for example?
I
Just
It
don't work in
doesn't matter,
engineering.
sir.
no,
It doesn't
no.
matter.
I'm
She's
asking for
right.
what I'm not saying she's wrong.
Man,
I'm
I'm
not
Mr.
saying she's wrong.
Tanzania.
But what's
China
the
build
point
your
of the question, though?
China build your
What's the
Let
point
her
of the
answer the
infrastructure.
question?
question. Let her answer
China
the
build your
question.
infrastructure.
Let her
When
answer
you
the.
take
Go ahead. Hello.
I'm not in engineering, but I want to assure you that most of us are talented in
I
businesses.
understand. I
So
understand.
1 minute, let
But
me
the
answer
reason
you,
I asked,
please.
the
Do
reason I
No,
not
asked,
let her
think. Okay.
let her finish. Let her finish, please.
Okay. So there are a lot of, if you conversant with a lot of talents displayed by our youth online. Some of them build cars, some of them build things that anyone would want to invest in, any political person in Africa that has money to support these youths. It starts from somewhere. That's what I'm saying. I'm not against your points. This is not about point scoring. It's about how we can actually
Sister, you're
face.
right. Everything that you said is true,
Right,
100%. This is
We
right.
not
have to
one
face.
industry. It's
Well,
entire
Yes,
guy,
protocol.
we
let
have
her
to.
finish. Hello, you got a minute.
We have to face these issues. You have to call pink, call purple. This is not a competition. That's the problem African youths have. What about your country? Oh, my country is better than yours. In Senegal, we have roads. Our youth. No, man. Why are Africans running out of African continent and visitors are going down there and plundering all that we have, filling up all the spaces, all African countries? I'm into business, yeah? So I understand that in Africa, I won't have that opportunity. It's not easy for youth. I support you, brother, anti-moralist, that, you are in a difficult situation. But if our governments can value the talents of our youths before the foreigners, regardless of how much wealth those foreign companies will bring, because they're not even actually bringing they are taking more money than the locals. The locals can do it cheaper, and the locals can even work harder, knowing that these roads belong to us and our children, our youth, to succeed in life. They will put their heart and soul into it. But politicians that are supposed to support their
how do
youth
you
to
do that
grow
though? That's
are
what I
highly
want to know.
corrupt. They are highly
And
corrupt.
African, they try to be patriotic on this show. When you talk
Yes.
about that country, oh, don't talk to my country.
In
You hate my
Nigeria,
country.
I am
I mean, I don't know
Nonsense.
All
what.
right,
Okay, fine.
Hello, you got 30 seconds. I gotta pass the mic.
okay. From my country, yeah, my country is being called all sorts of names and shitholes, yeah, stuff like that, whatever. But I want the best for my country. I'm not ashamed of where I come from. But I am not dumb to deny my weaknesses, because I prefer people to tell me my weaknesses so I can learn from it. That's the only way I can grow. So constructive criticism for my country and myself is actually good. Yeah. Thank you
I,
guys. So keep
All right,
trying, keep doing good.
go ahead, Hustle Smart.
Man, first of all, man, shout out to your platform. Hopefully everything is going good with your channel and what you're doing in life, man. Keep doing what you're doing, bro. Keep the message out. I'm glad that you give us a platform, and but what it does is that it shocks me when you get these Africans up here from different country, and then you see why nothing gets done. Like every African up here that's from a different country has this thing about their country is better, and they try to position themselves like what their country is a little bit better, 1% better, a third percent better, a 0.3% better, and all of it is shitty. And the African countries that doing extremely well, the white people running it. That's the sad part about it. And then you got disingenuous Americans, and then you got this homosexual up here that y'all dudes up here. If he came to y'all country, y'all would kill him. Y'all would put a tiger around his neck. Y'all would put a.
That's smart.
I'm just speaking facts. So what I'm saying is what I'm saying.
Hold on, smart. Anybody's sexuality is none of my business. Our business.
No, I got that. But what I'm saying is that these countries all have their. Every last one of these countries have their faults.
What you're saying is you're immature.
But what I'm saying is
that if you don't know how to make a point without trying to talk about somebody's sexuality.
Don't interrupt me.
Hold on, guys. No name comment today. No name.
Who's homosexual?
The dude y'all keep.
Dinus, I have a question for you.
The 63-year-old faggot that's talking right now.
I have a question for you. Who funded the Ethiopian dam?
Hey, can I finish talking, or you gonna let the faggot talk?
Who funded the Ethiopian dam?
I gotta pass the mic. Let Smart finish. Must Smart, no name calling.
I'm with you, but what I'm saying is the audacity of different countries and people in America. They ain't never stepped foot in there. That's my whole point. They never stepped foot in Africa. That sit up here in America. That sit up there want to tell African what they should do, what they can do when they can't even step foot in Africa and be accepted. So they come on these platforms and try to chastise Africans, and then y'all Africans sit up there and chastise each other. It just
but
is
how's
amazing.
that adding to the constructiveness?
Shaw, don't interrupt him. Don't interrupt him. Please don't.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And then y'all sit up here and the thing about it is y'all wouldn't even allow them to come in your spaces. So they come on channels like this and they just let everybody come up here. And I appreciate that. I like that because you can't go on other channels and talk. They'll mute you or block you down to echo chamber. But what I don't what I don't like is that when people that's definitely a homosexual is coming up here cosplaying, trying to tell y'all what y'all gonna do and what y'all and ostracizing y'all. When if he was in y'all country, you wouldn't even talk to him. You wouldn't even talk to him on the street. So he come up here and tell y'all what y'all should be doing.
Stupid.
But see, that's the thing about it. This is what we got in America.
And the fact that you are trying to malign somebody's sexuality
can I get through talking?
that you're
interrupt nobody.
Okay, but Smart. Okay, so
I ain't gonna say nothing else about his homosexual abomination. I ain't gonna say nothing about him being an abomination no more.
You're stupid.
I ain't gonna say nothing about you being an abomination. That's the Bible talking now. But what I'm saying, what I'm saying is that the same thing. If y'all don't stop this shit in Africa, y'all see the same thing that's happened in America, where we have all these dudes that's over 50, 60, 70 years old. They come online and all they talk about is what did they ain't did shit. They ain't did shit in America. We go through this in America all the time with these old Negro spirituals that sit up there and want to tell somebody how to do something when they ain't do nothing but kiss white people ass. They talk about Africans loving white people. Black people do the same thing in America. But they'll get online. Black people, 45 million, and still goddamn busting their ass trying to goddamn chase behind and work for a white dude. Black people ain't running no business in here. They ain't running no major corporations. It is not one out of all these buildings in America. It's not one built from the ground and owned by a black person. With all that money black people have.
All right.
But what they'll do is they'll come up here and talk to y'all about what y'all ain't doing over here when they ain't doing over being democratic clowns.
We got your point, though, bro. We got your point.
I don't give a fuck with your faggot ass guy. You can stop interrupting me. You fucking faggot.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's your point right there. You came in criticizing Africans about
that faggot a brother.
being able to get along. Weird. You're trying to insult people. You're silly.
Go ahead, bang.
So the bigger point is that the funding when we was talking about capital.
Man, they say, nah, I'm going back to Africa, man. I'm gonna dominate these Africans, man. What about that, man? What about
we're talking about capital? We're talking about capital.
Of course they can, because you right, bang, because they too busy fighting each other.
Imagine
they too busy fighting each other.
I agree with Kutzwa on that point.
So it wasn't productive at all. It detracted from what the conversation that we was having. We were talking about how do we get the capital even if we did have the capacity.
Shit, have you been to Africa before?
Yes, I have been to Africa, but
Where?
we're talking about. I've been to the Congo, I've been to Nigeria. But wait a minute, listen to my point. Listen to my point. Listen to my point. Listen to my point. So the thing that was brought up was about having capital, even if we did have the
He was looking
capacity
for
or
a
the knowledge.
boyfriend. He was looking for a Nigerian boyfriend. That's what he was looking for.
What were you doing in Nigeria, though?
He was trying to bend over. He was trying to bend
Don't
over.
laugh at him,
He was
man.
trying to
He's
find
stupid.
a.
He's
He was
silly.
trying to find a
And
boat
now
boy under the bridge. One of them poor homeless homeboy that live in
the
the
point that I was
dilapidated
making.
houses. They
The
don't
point
play
that
that
I'm
shit in
making is
Nigeria.
Ethiopia.
They don't play that shit
Ethiopia
in
raised their
Nigeria.
own money. Ethiopia raised their own money to fund their own dam. They listen to this.
Let's
Ethiopia
be civil,
raised their
please. Let's
own
be
money to
civil.
fund their own dam. So that means that Africans can also raise their own money to build their bridges, their roads, whatever it is that we're trying to
The
do. So
Ethiopian model is
capital
probably the best
shouldn't be a
example.
reason why
Brother,
we
but
can't do
the point is,
what
It
we need
ain't
to
no
do.
we. It
the
ain't no
point
we
is,
homosexual. It ain't no we. It's
So
you by
we want to
yourself.
This
clarify this.
child,
It
What
ain't
were
no
you doing?
we.
What were you doing
It
in
ain't
Nigeria,
no
though?
type of
you
we.
sound
Yo,
stupid,
When you
bro.
talk about
Bro,
Pan-Africanism with a
Why you allowed to
homosexual,
echo, bro?
you're making
you're worse
yourself
than
look
a bad
stupid.
witch. You're worse than
You're
a
lucky
gay
that
black man
Dynas
is
is
worse
nice
than the
because
Ku
if it
Klux
were me,
Klan.
your ass would have been long gone.
You worse than the Ku Klux Klan. You homosexual. You abomination.
we gotten
You
off the subject.
confused about
yeah,
who
yeah.
you
Can
want to
I
You
lay in the
deserve a
bed with.
response, sir.
Hold on.
say
What, Mike? Let's
something?
smart. Stop. Like we're
Can
not
I
we're not
just say
doing it.
I
something?
mean, you allowed him
Stop.
to
You know,
We're
finish.
in,
not
in
doing it.
Yeah,
response
I
to
mean,
what
you
you
allowed him to do it.
Hold on.
Yeah,
Shaw,
mute him, bro.
you got 30 seconds. I'm gonna pass it to V. Go ahead, Shaw.
So no, that's it. We have the practical, we have the theoretical. We work with the universities in different areas in Africa to take on different technologies, and then we fund our own stuff. And all of those people that are in the way, those people that want kickbacks, corrupt leaders, and all those things, they get kicked to the curb. But that has to happen first. Anyway, that is
Chuck,
the
can I ask
issue
you a
that has to
question?
happen first.
No, you can't ask me a question. I gotta pass it to V. Go, Shaw, you got
Yeah,
let
you
me
know
know when
what?
you're done.
That's
I
it.
was going
That's
to
it. I'm
say
done.
something in response to what you've just said. It's not the fact that Africa cannot raise the funds. It's the government, the corrupt government, just like the sister just said that I've been saying all along. The government. I mean, I just give a little
Can I speak
example.
after her, Dynas?
No. Can I just give a little example that recently, Ghana, the government before was encouraging farmers to grow our own rice, which many of people took it up and they were growing rice. The rice was fresher. I was buying it and eating it. It was fresher. You can really taste the difference because they they harvest the rice within a week. It's in the mills and then it's in the market. This government comes in.
It sounds
And
like
then
you are Adu supporter. It sounds like that. You see, this is the
CD,
whole
Yeah, exactly the point.
tribal and culture
she's
thing in
not.
Africa.
Oh man, y'all, stop. Go ahead, V.
So this government comes in, and then what do? They go out and importing millions of dollars of rice, and now the local farmers are finding their rice collapsing. I prefer to buy the local farm rice because I find the quality is much better. But then they bought it, and what do? They send it into the institutions like the schools, the prisons, and all the other government institutions like the army and so forth. While previously they were buying it from the local farmers. So from a stroke of one decision, they've almost collapsing the rice farmers business. You see, and this replicates itself when it comes to say getting a contract. And as I said before, when they take a contract out to these multinationals outside, first of all, the multinationals can raise capital very, very quickly, sometimes with the government backing. Their government give them interest-free loans and everything else. Or even if they go to most of the banks in Asia, they're paying about 2 or 1% interest. While you come to a bank in Ghana, the cheapest you probably get was about 18% interest. You see, so you are losing out. If you go and get the loan from them, you're losing because the interest that you're paying is so big. Then they get huge sums of money and backing, and they come in, and then with our corrupt politicians and our corrupt leaders there, because they give them the contract, they're getting their share, about 20% in Ghana. That's the going rate. Every contract that they take out of Ghana and give it to these multinationals or other companies coming from outside, their share is 20%. 20% of the money goes to those politicians. So what do you think they will do? They're corrupt. It's not that we cannot raise our fund. Ethiopia made the decision to raise the funds, and they didn't just raise the fund to build that massive dam. They're even raising funds to do a lot more. You see, but it's the corrupt leadership in Africa that's destroying Africa. And when you say you find in Africa, I mean, I'm there struggling, do my own thing. I can live without the government because I'll be okay. But there are people that literally depend on the government, like what they've done to these rice farmers now. You see, so it's a problem. That's the problem we're having in Africa.
Can I ask a question, Dinas? I'll close it after this. I'll be done.
Nobody's stopping you, man.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm outside and everyone, Uncle Jim,
oh my
good
God.
night.
Okay, you know what? Let me just ask that last question. So, Shah, I think you bring up a good point, specifically about how Ethiopia was able to raise capital. What I was making important distinction initially is that the problem was capital, but that doesn't mean it was an excuse. I'm trying to. This is one thing I'm saying. I will speak very nuanced here. It's because I can look at each African country and see what they're doing well and why we need to learn from each other. That's my entire situation. I'm trying to say we should learn from each other what exactly works and what doesn't. Ethiopia has shown as an example that you can raise capital by buying bonds and be able to build big dams like that. That dam has increased the Ethiopian capacity to about 6,000 megawatts. Okay, Tanzania megawatts right now with our dam, we build our dam similarly, but our dam was only because of the river we had. Remember, our river was a refuge river. Was about increased it to about 4,000 give or take. So now we are like one of the largest electrical. We have a large electrical reserves in Tanzania, for example. But that doesn't mean I'm saying that it has the solution. What I'm saying is that one solution in one area can work well. One thing I will say, the best model I've seen is the Ethiopian model. But in Kenya, for example, I also give them credit. They're very good at starting fintech companies and startup entrepreneurship. That's one thing Tanzania can't really compete in. And we're very slow economically, but Kenya is not doing a lot in terms of construction and manufacturing. They mostly do, not that they don't do it at all. It's just that most of the time they require foreign companies to come in there and build things rather than actually requiring them to train the locals in these areas. And that's one thing I'm saying Tanzania is doing far better in that example. And that's just one example that I'm specifically saying. These situations have to first start in these areas where we look at what country does what right. Tanzania, for example, are very food secure, and they export most of their food from Kenya and Uganda. But their economy is very slow, and especially throughout its history, it's been very more reliable on Kenya than on itself because of exporting, for example. But Kenya has been very good at when it comes to exporting. So when it comes to, like, for example, these regions specifically, I'm saying, I'm gonna go because I'm an engineer, so I'm talking engineering specifically. In engineering, the reason I think Tanzania is doing well is because they have a lot more engineers involved in these local projects. Eventually, if you work for one of these companies, the more people work in these companies, the more likely they're going to start their own companies. And even more, I would say the solution is for the government in each country is to hire Ethiopia. This is why I say the Ethiopian model works, because they've learned it from China and Vietnam, where they take all the engineers and put them under one corporation, specifically a corporation. This is a state-owned corporation company that focuses on focusing on roads, urban development, industrial development, things like that. And that's one thing Tanzania, that's what I look at Ethiopia and say, they've done that very well. And that is an example that can be copied. And that's why I'm saying it's not that there's no engineers, it's the engineering capacity, meaning if you need somebody who knows manufacturing or industrial pipelines, or for example, who knows how to make, not just being able to make a car, but to get the components refined and that entire supply chain, and you find those people in those areas. That's my argument. And those people do exist individually, but do they exist in an ecosystem that is literally saying, you guys focus on this. Specifically, we want to make sure there's better railway connection, there is better port connection, there's multiple ports so we can export more things and make it cheaper. Those kind of things is what I'm saying. Because those things don't just require you having engineers available. It requires, can you get all the engineers in one area? Because I know there's Kenyan engineers, Tanzanian engineers. I know they exist because my father has worked with them and I've been able to meet them very young. but you're not going to get those engineers in one area. And these people are not just, they've worked in international programs, international companies, like, for example, South Korean companies, they've worked for European companies. They know what they're doing. They have the ability, but are you going to be able to get them in one area? And that requires
true.
government organization, more than just capital. Government organization. I want you to respond to that first. You know, you want to say something.
So when are we going to be organized as an engineer?
Shah wanted to say something. I don't know if it's Shah or Swell. Somebody else wanted to say something. One person.
Listen.
So my question is,
City. Wait, your City. Okay, you go on, City.
Go ahead, CD.
My
Go ahead,
question
CD.
is,
I'll go after you.
So you saying that because you guys now organized, that's why or Africans being given a manual liberal work compared to technical work? Because when I've been to Tanzania and I don't see, when the Chinese are building street, when the Chinese are constructing in Nairobi, I see the Chinese supervising them. And there's a lot of engineer in Kenya.
That's funny because
even within their
my
engineering
dad actually
school.
worked on the BRT system. So, and
Yeah.
that was given to a Chinese company, and he's one of the supervisors there. So this is my point.
Right.
I'm not saying you're lying. You're not saying, but I'm saying.
Yeah. Let me finish. Let me finish. So
Let CD speak, please. We're not fighting.
So let us say the amount of engineer that graduate from college in Nairobi is a lot. So what is the role of these guys? Because I remember recently there was an engineer that made comment that 85% of the building in Nairobi are unsafe to occupy, and all these buildings were built by the Chinese. So after years of constructing all these buildings, and this is the time that he come to criticize everything that went on in Nairobi. So where was the group of engineers? And now he's saying none of these buildings are safe to be occupied, right? So I'm not sure. Is it because you guys are not organized, or is it because you saying it's so difficult to bring you guys together?
No.
And carry on this construction.
Let me be specific on that. I'm not saying it's not easy to bring us together. I'm saying when you have look, do you know what a state corporation is? That's what I'm saying. That is a state corporation. As an engineer, you're gonna go find the one that pays you well. That's the incentive of an engineer to always go say, hey, listen, these guys pay me well, I'm gonna go work for them.
It's the same as doctors. The same as doctors. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm saying specifically this is why I'm saying Ethiopian model. They literally created a company that's not a ministry, a corporation company that is owned by the state that literally hires these engineers at a price and say, we need to do this and this. We need to make sure to develop urban development. That's why when you look at it, Addis Ababa, it's very well developed and it's very well maintained because they hire their own local engineers. I'm not saying you're gonna have to find the engineers there and actually hire them through the company. That's why I say specifically the Ethiopian model is the best so far. Doesn't mean there's no problems.
Hold on, Anton. Hold on. This is the thing. What y'all not trying to understanding is that the one thing the Anton's not saying, you have to make people comfortable. Like my doctor in Atlanta, he tells me that he would love to go back to Nigeria and be a doctor, but he don't want to be fighting about his money. He don't want to be paying bribes. He don't want to have to get put second or third when it comes to foreigners. You get what I'm saying? And the terrain. You get what I'm saying? Like he can drive his Tesla on good roads, got good infrastructure. He can sit in his office, he got some good security. You get what I'm saying? Like he would love to go back over there. Go back to he went to college in Benin. You can look him up at Wellstar. You know what I'm saying? But he's saying that but the infrastructure to make they intellectuals comfortable is not there. So you want people to come over there in good faith. Yes. Hold on, I got you, bro. I'm gonna put it in layman terms. You want people to come over there in good faith and have their brain to be focused. Because when you have that type of mind of a doctor and the engineer, you don't want to be worried about if your pay is gonna be short, or you got the money is not gonna be right, or if it rains, the roads can't get done. Hold on for a second. Just hold on, man. Just hold on. So what I'm saying is that not only is it the cost, it's to make them comfortable. And I'm gonna say this one thing, last thing before I get a mic back. When America went over there in the war, and when they got those Germans to bring them over, because America didn't have the technology for rockets. They didn't have that technology to build when y'all get off the exits, the exit ramps, that Americans didn't build it. The Germans had that technology. Y'all should have saw how the roads was before the Germans came here. So what I'm saying is when they brought those Germans over here, they built the whole facility just for them. They built the school for their kids. You get what I'm saying? They gave them protection so those Germans can go and they like, hey, you ain't got to worry about this. You're going to have a salary. You know what I'm saying? They got military bases, have food, you get what I'm saying? And let them go so they can just work and then they can goddamn expand their knowledge. But if those Germans had to worry about their kids and worry about their family and worry about how if they're gonna get money or they're gonna be able to support their family, they couldn't do their job with that precision. To America to have number one. Now America is number one in airplane technology because of the Germans. So they had to make them comfortable when they came over there, when they was bombing them Germans. They came in there and said, look, we're going to take you, we're going to take your kids, we're going to take all of it. We're going to build something to make y'all comfortable. And African countries not doing that. They just want their people to come over there in good faith and then want them to be managing and suffering in the process. Nobody's going to want to do that. So they're going to go to UK where they're going to get the 100K euro job or come to America, because that's one thing that America does good. It brain drains. So they'll bring a person from Nigeria and be like, hey, we're going to give you this job and let you develop, let you grow. We're going to put you on a set salary. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to be able to afford you ain't going to have to worry about apartments. You know what I'm saying? Have enough to get your apartment, get your car, pay for your food. And that person can go in there and just build and think of things to do. But you can't do that when the country is suffering. You know what I'm saying? You got right now Nigerians. My homegirl called me today and showed me the pictures. You got people out there standing in line with the government giving out rice and refrigerators trying to get people to vote while the electricity is bad. I mean, hold on. This is the last one I promise. What I'm saying is that if to the people demand, you give to the people rise. So that's the one thing I tell you good about America. It ain't black people, it's the white people. It's the white people that demand the government to do that. Black people here in America don't do nothing but complain and beg and vote Democrat. It's the white people demand more. But what I'm saying is that you over there in Nigeria, they over there sitting on bags of rice and jerry cans of oil and TVs, and they out there dancing and praising the Lord and crying. They don't want innovation.
They're going to start coming after you. They're going to come for you right now. The
people got to demand more.
All right, guys. We got to close out. Everyone, thanks so much for joining. Like, share, subscribe. Until next time, family.
Man, white South Africans, man, continue, man.